Got the same chemistry been going on all along, so it was really Angelo was a blessing in disguise.
Yep. It's great to have him.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fun. And you just got some knowledge to my head too. I did not know that they play flag football
Right.
together. So that's why we're seeing such a
Yes,
great
sir.
connection there. So now with so much production on offense, you get new faces from other leagues, especially at this point of the season. I know that's a lot to kind of juggle and work with, but how do you kind of work with chemistry, making sure you're not bringing in someone that's going to disrupt that?
So I'm big on chemistry, almost to the point where it's a fault. I talk a lot with other coaches in this league sometimes, and they're big on just moving the roster around. And I'm just like, how do you keep chemistry that way, right? Because
Hello, Arena fans. I am Calvin Silvers. I am sitting down with
Coach Bones Magante, head coach of the Hot Springs Wiseguys.
That's right. We got a big game against the St. Joseph Goats tonight. Coach, I got 5 questions for you. We're just going to roll right into it if you're ready.
All right.
Let's do it. All right. So coming off the bye and a big win over the Lunkers, how much momentum do you feel like this group has built heading into this final stretch of the season?
I mean, we're hitting stride at the right time. I'll say that. I try to take it 1 week at a time so I don't look too much into the future in this case. And in the last couple of weeks where we play teams back to back, that's the only time I try to look at the next game to try to set up counter type of deal. But the momentum's good. We're hitting stride right when we need to. That's at the strength of the schedule towards the end of the season. And I think we're going to be fine.
And all right, Coach, now you face some of the league's top tier teams, especially in the standings this first half of the season. How has that kind of schedule shaped this team's toughness?
Well, with a heavy front-loaded schedule, we can get out and get ahead of it, and it should be smooth sailings, smooth sailings as it goes, as best as it can in sports. But us going against the top teams early on, and then quote unquote the less teams. But I mean, we got to be real. I mean, every league in this team is going to be tough.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Every team in this league is going to be tough, and you guys were a shoe-in for the championship in the first year, and and y'all lost to the Woo. So I can't really say it's a front-loaded or back-loaded thing. I think all the games are tough, and we're going to try to take it week by week, one by one, and try to be 1-0 tonight.
And that's what makes this league so fun, is just the competition that you're going to face every weekend.
Yes.
Now, you were speaking about the competition. This Goats offense, it's one of the highest scoring, if not the highest scoring team in the league.
Yes.
They got the top passer. They got the top receiver.
Yes.
What's the key? Now, I know you can't give the game plan, but what is the key to maybe trying to slow them down?
I mean, we just got to do our job. I'm confident in our game plan, and we just have to execute. I feel as though the games prior and last week, the team scored off of our MAs. I didn't really see us getting beat like man-to-man or them breaking down our zones. I just feel as though it's based off of MAs, so that's our part. So we just got to do our job, alignment, assignment, and technique.
And I'm used to saying 111, but that's a little different here in this league here now.
Yeah, 1-7.
Yeah, the 1-7. There you go. Now, we were talking about the Goats, but you have some playmakers on your team as well, especially Ambrose, just making plays all season.
Yeah.
How important has those guys been, your playmakers been, in keeping your team competitive each week?
I mean, they are the team. The players are the league. I just want to say that. Without the players, we have no fans. Without the fans, we have no ownership. We have no arena. So the players are the league. So they are a pivotal point, And, I'm just fortunate enough the guys to believe in me and believe in my system and my background just to come and play for me. Like you mentioned, we have Jordan Ambrose. We also have Aaron Dilworth. We have Lou Dorsey. We have Troy Evans. We have Quavon Hicks. We have Vincent Hobbs. The list goes on. We have Vishawn Palmer. It's just a lot of guys that I was fortunate enough to be able to get recruited to come out to Hot Springs.
And with the season coming to an end here soon, every team is still in contention here for the playoffs. So everyone is still hanging on there, especially the Goats here. They really need a win here. So just how are you keeping the team focused down this final stretch of just knowing that the Goats are going to come out here and try to give you their all, as they cannot lose anymore the rest of the season?
I mean, I think you pretty much said it. I mean, when every game counts, and with our motto is going 1-0 each week, it really doesn't matter where our record sits or where anyone else's record sits. We just have to do our job and do our assignments. And win or lose, if we execute the game plan, then that's on me. That's not on them. And, I'd rather it be on me than the players.
All right, Coach, I appreciate you joining me here today. Goats versus Wiseguys here in St. Joseph tonight at 7:05. Hello, Arena fans. I am Calvin Silvers. I am sitting down with
Jarius Burnett, Goats running back.
That's right. Now, we got a big game here tonight against the Wiseguys, but before you guys hit the field, I got some questions to ask you if you're ready.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get into it. Now, before we jump into about the game tonight, talk about your journey and how you got here with the Goats.
Well, Robbins, Georgia. I played high school football at Warner Robins High School. Then I went off to junior college, to Grossman College, and then went to D1 at Middle Tennessee for a semester. Then I ended up sitting out a year and a half and coming back to an NAIA down the road in Kansas, Winfield. So they had a tryout, and that's how I ended up with the GOAT. So I drove 3 hours for the tryout and made the team. Coach Dorsey was calling me the next day, talking about hey, let's get up here. So I was graduated May 12th. Trials was May 14th. Well, mini camp was May 14th. So
a good graduation gift and a good
yes, sir. Great one.
It's good that you decided to drive that 3 hours because look at you here now. And just how have you fitted? How do you feel like you fit in with the GOATs here?
Pretty much, I feel like I fit in good because they already had their passing game on point, and I just came and polished it up with the run game a little bit. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, helping with that run game. And now you guys coming off a bye, heading into this final stretch, and then the final stretch has teams all in the lower half of the schedule. Now everyone's talented in the league, but that is something to look at here. How have you guys stayed locked in mentally down this final stretch?
Honestly, we was meeting throughout the day pretty much, staying on our P's and Q's on like what we're gonna do on offense, what's the game plan on defense, and special teams, obviously. So we really pretty much was game planning that whole bye week, and then we came back the week of practice and hit it back hard again. So we tackled on a lot of good stuff and watched film and got some good stuff that we're gonna bring out tonight. So
it's gonna be fun to watch.
Fun to watch, yeah.
How do you feel coming off that bye week? How do you guys feel as a team? Just rejuvenated, just more focused?
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel?
We feel way more focused and way more rejuvenated because we got the chance to rest our bodies and stuff like that, So we feel very great today.
And I'm sure Coach loves to hear that as well, that you're feeling great here.
Yes,
now,
sir.
You guys, sitting in a strong position with the teams that you're going to face down the stretch here, but you don't want to take a loss here, with the playoffs coming up. So just how have you guys, knowing that, just not let maybe the moment get too big?
Well, honestly, we already know right here, we just got to win it out. We just got to go in and win every game from now on out. So every game we thinking about winning, nothing else. So.
And that's the kind of mindset you need to have, and especially in the league like this. Now,
yes,
final
sir.
home game of the regular season. How much does this one mean to the team, just to play in front of St. Joseph's, to play in front of the fans, knowing that a return home might not come until a championship if you guys make it that far? So how important is it just to play in front of the fans?
It's very important because we pack out the crowd, so it means a lot to us and the y'all to come here and be able to watch us play. So we trying to win every game that we step into the building. So.
That's right. It's going to be fun. It's going to be electric tonight. I appreciate you.
That's right. Thank you.
Now, of course, Wiseguys versus GOATs here in St. Joseph tonight at 7:05.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Arena fans. I am Calvin Silvers. I am sitting down with
Bashawn Palmer, defensive back for the Hot Springs Wiseguys. I was wearing number 4, but tonight I'm going to be wearing number 6.
That's right. And we got a big game here tonight against the GOATs. I know you guys are excited, but before we get the field, we got to hit the question. So let's roll right into it. Now, you guys are coming off a bye week. Got to win against the Lunkers. How much momentum do you feel like this group has built heading into this final stretch of the season?
I say each week we prepare differently for like different teams, different game plans, and we just try to come out and execute the game plan that coach provides for us each week. So.
And it seems like it's been working so far here. Like I said, getting a big win over the Lunkers, heading into the bye week. How refreshed do you guys feel from that bye week?
From the bye week, we feel pretty confident. Yeah.
And now, feeling confident because you have faced some of the top tier teams in the league right now, at least in standing wise. Just how has that kind of schedule shaped this team's toughness?
And it starts in practice. So all week, I tell my guys, like, we gotta focus on being disciplined and, just working our techniques and reading our keys and just playing fluently.
And this GOATS offense, you're talking about, playing everything right, doing everything right, being disciplined. This GOATS offense, they can score some points. Top quarterback, top receiver in the league, at least with yards and everything. What's the key to slowing this GOATS offense down?
Keeping everybody in front, getting hands-on. Got to.
That's when it's the most fun. That's when it's the most fun to play DB too, when you get hands-on, everything like that. Now, you guys have a lot of playmakers. Defense, offense, no matter what. You guys have a lot of playmakers. Just talk about the talent that you guys possess with this team. What kind of talent do the Wiseguys have?
We got the best 7 on defense. That's all I can really say.
Yeah. Plain and simple, put it on the billboards.
Yeah, plain and simple. Just come out, play hard, physical, smart ball.
Especially in this league, that's what you have to do. It's quick, it's fast paced. I got one more question for you because playoff implications, they're looming. Everyone's still in contention for it, with how the league is built. Just how are you guys staying focused and not looking too far ahead and not thinking too far about the playoffs?
All the vets on our team, so they already been here. So guys like me who are rookies, they just let us know, like, hey, it's just another game. You've been here, you've been playing all your life. So just go out there, just do your thing.
Well, I appreciate you joining us here today. We have the Wiseguys versus Goats here in St. Joseph tonight at 7:05.
Ozarks at home taking on the number 1 team in the land, Duluth. 2 minutes in, Javante Johnson to Dan Williams. That makes it 6-0 Harbor Monsters. The Lunkers answer right back. Brandon Mackey to the outside for 6. They get the 2-point conversion. Ozarks signed a new quarterback, Tyler Kolka, and this is his first Arena League touchdown. He finds Matt Rush, who blows by his defender for the score. First quarter still. Johnson finds his running back, James Harden, along the wall. Duluth trails by just 1. Kolka, he's going to go do a play action to Rajay Johnson-Sanders, back from a 2-game absence. But again, Duluth would answer right back. Johnson finds Dan Williams wide open. The threat finished with 6 catches for 3 scores. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Ladarian McAllister gets a block and goes for 6. And after, for the celebration, he's going to reel in the fish. 25-20 Duluth leads. Kolka finds Rajay Johnson-Sanders with 5 seconds left in the first half. Now 2 seconds to work with, 1 play, and Duluth uses it for an unbelievable catch by Jamal Couch over the defenders to end the half up 31-26. We went back and forth the whole first half. That wouldn't be how the second half started. It was Brandon Mackey punching it in. He finished with 142 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. Tyler Kolka finds Matt Rush again, makes it 44-31 Lunkers. Top of the fourth quarter. Guess who to guess who? It's Kolka to Rush for their 3rd touchdown connection of the night. The Lunkers go on a 24-0 run to start the second half. Brandon Mackey gets to the boards, keeps his balance. He counts him up in the end zone. Yeah, that's number 4 for him. This play looks familiar, but when you get a new quarterback on your roster, you have a limited playbook. It works to Kendrick Payne. Kolka finished his first start with 6 touchdowns to 1 pick. Dan Williams catches a late score for Hassan Brocken, but it's a little too late. Ozarks stuns Duluth at home and wins 62-45. When you look at the standings, Duluth still remains at that number 1 slot. Them and Ozarks were the only matchup in action last weekend. Right behind them, the Woo and the Wiseguys tied for 2nd. Ozarks now at 500 on their own in 4th place. Behind them, St. Joseph at 2-3, and Eau Claire sitting at 1-4 in last place. The games in action this weekend: Iowa on the road at Ozarks. The Lunkers on a current 3-game homestand. Then Eau Claire goes on the road to play Duluth in Minnesota. And St. Joseph hosts Hot Springs. All games in action start at 7:05 tonight.
Welcome to the Arena League. This is football reimagined. Not your great-grandpa's slow-motion Sundays. This is 7-on-7. It's fast. It's loud. Every play is pressure. Every yard is earned. 2025 brought the upgrade. 20-second play clock. No punts. No breaks. Live walls. And yeah, they hit. QBs now have a run lane. Step out. That's a flag. Everyone's eligible except the center. Touchdowns are 6. Then choose 1 from the 5 or 2 from the 10. Kickoffs are different here. We throw it off, and it's gotta fly 40 yards. And if it hits the stands, take that puppy home. No other league does it like this. New rules, new era. We're growing fast and hitting harder. This is the Arena League, the most entertaining league in sports. And your moment starts now.
In the quiet moments before dawn, champions are made. Every fan, every athlete, every moment counts. It's not just a game, it's a passion that unites us, drives us, and makes us strive for greatness. Greatness is wherever fans connect and call home. We believe in the power of the community. We believe in turning passion into action. We bring fans closer and transform loyalty into unforgettable experiences. Join us. Make every moment matter. Fan Club. Get your fans in the game.
My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice cold. I'm only here to even a score. Whoa. My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice cold. We down right now, but did it before. Whoa. See from here we going up. Made the call, I shown up. Now the game is on up. Say my name is blown up. We up, 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 we up. See from here we go.
Immediately has to give it to Martinez. Dance around his end zone.
That's a face mask.
That is a face mask, and the flag is down, and Martinez is running with it. Gets a block. Gets another. Play Martinez!
I just feel like 80 rest in my Marys. Me and back to back is getting scary. If you fucking with my eyes, just don't come near me. Put some bins all on your head like Jason Terry. Whoa. Rich and Millie cuss a Lambo. Known to keep the baddest bitches on commando. Every time I'm in my trap, I move like Rambo. Ain't a neighborhood in Philly that I can't go. For real. She said, oh, you rich. Bitch, I graduated, call me Big Fish. I got Lori Hurry on my wish list. That's the only thing I want for Christmas. I been had my way out here, yeah, no, that's facts. You ain't living that shit you said, yeah, we know that's cat. You ain't got the ass in when you see me, no I'm straight. DTO.
Pivotal matchup for the Goats and the Wise Guys alike. St. Joseph 2-3 overall into tonight, and currently ranked 5th in the overall standings. Meanwhile, Hot Springs 3-2, and they are in 4th. So this is going to go a long way, and the winner of this one ultimately locking up with 2 weeks to go the potential final home playoff spot. So we will wait and see as both teams will flip sides here. Yeah, welcome in Aaron Feely, my broadcast partner here tonight. I'm Dylan Funk, and as always a great time to do these games with you here, Aaron, and should be a very fast and physical game tonight.
Yeah, always high energy, fast-paced action here in the Arena League, at least when both teams know which side of the field they're supposed to be starting on.
Can gladly say this is a first that we have seen here this season, but now we're all squared away. Hot Springs wins the toss, they defer, so we'll see the St. Joe Goats out on offense first. This highly anticipated matchup, this high-flying Goats offense against this tough-nosed Wise Guys defense, and already a good sign for Hot Springs. Right down the field goes the coverage team on the throw-off, and St. Joe essentially will start pretty much like a touchback. They'll have it 1st and 10 right at about their own 6-yard line, as we'll see Angelo Trujillo back on the field here. The resumed starting quarterback role back in week 2 coming out of halftime, and he has not looked back since. The most combined touchdowns in the league since starting with a total of 30. Takes a snap in his end zone, rolls to his right, fires down the field, has a man with Washington, but just overthrown, incomplete.
That was actually a great throw there. Washington, I think, was concerned about the defender, but if he had just kept running, kind of just ignored the deep safety entirely, which I know is very difficult to do. I'm making that sound like it's super easy. But had he been able to pull that off and just kept running, that ball would have been right in stride.
You go to the ground this time, Jarius Burnett, and he does not have a lot of room. Maybe just gets back to the line of scrimmage or maybe a yard, but not a whole lot here. 3rd and long coming up.
Not a lot of defensive specialists in the world of arena football, but Hot Springs definitely among them.
One of the few fewest amount of rushing yards allowed. And Trujillo's going to pile some good ones up here. He will go right into the wall. First down and then some for St. Joe.
And that's going to be the key. The Hot Springs Wiseguys specialize in sound, technique-driven defense. They don't give up a lot. It's going to be the speed of St. Joe and the ability to create versus a team that absolutely won't make mistakes on you. You're going to have to earn and create every yard you get. You're not going to get many freebies against this Hot Springs team.
And St. Joe, arguably the fastest team in the league. They go hurry up just about every down. Fake the give, bullet over the middle. There's Boo Smith. First catch for him, another first down inside the 15 of Hot Springs goes St. Joe.
And right now, even though it started off with a couple of good defensive plays from Hot Springs, the advantage looks to be with St. Joe, that speed and quickness.
Looking again, end zone, looking for the one-handed grab, and he comes down with it. Touchdown, Lorenzo Thompson, acrobatic as ever.
So there you go. I almost compared this to like an Ohio State-Iowa matchup in the Big Ten. You've got the team that's sound technique-wise, doesn't give up much on defense against the squad of high-end five-star athletes that are just here to make big athletic plays. And right there, a big athletic play from one of the big-time athletes here from these St. Joe Goats, number 6, Lorenzo Thompson.
Big after quiet 2 weeks ago in the last game, just 2 catches for no yards. He gets the scoring started here, and laterally this, a live ball. It goes to Thompson. Burnett being taken down to the turf, just trying to keep that play alive, but the conversion will end up being no good. But once again, for St. Joe, Aaron, we were here 2 weeks ago. Everybody but Duluth and Ozark on the bye week over the 4th of July holiday weekend. So time for rest for both these teams. But we saw St. Joe in that offense really had their first full 4 quarters, very well executed game. 10 of 12 on all scoring drives in that game. Of course, the only 2 drives they didn't score and ended in turnovers, 1 fumble and 1 interception. But outside of that, they were nearly perfect, and they get out to a perfect start here. First drive, first touchdown.
And there's the other thing about that game is it actually opens up a pathway for the 1 seed. Had Duluth won that game, it would have erased St. Joseph's chances of still coming all the way. I mean, it would still take a bit of a miracle. But because Duluth lost, it actually still creates a path for St. Joseph to get the 1 seed heading into the playoffs. So for those of you that like to scoreboard watch and keep tabs on such things, that number 1 overall seed and a clean slate of home playoff games all the way to the championship, not off the table just yet.
Thompson off the touchdown reception will throw it down on the throw-off, taken in at the 5 and able to stumble his way past the 10. Keeping the play alive, DeWandrick Crockett, number 5 on the return for Hot Springs, as we will see their offense trot out onto the field for the first time. They're led by their dual-threat quarterback, Jordan Ambrose, 6'2", 228 pounds, out of Defiance College in Ohio, arguably the best dual-threat man in the league. Second in total rushing at 452 yards and passing at 706 with 19 total combined touchdowns, just behind Angelo Trujillo's 30 for St. Joe. No strangers in this offense, Aaron, for Hot Springs to keep it on the ground, second in the league in total rushing yards.
Like I said, the Iowa comparison, very apt. Team that likes to be physical, likes to use size to their advantage.
And a little bit of improvising here, and Ambrose is going to make the most of it. He is a load to try to bring down. He is carrying Goats defenders to midfield, and on a play that looked like was going to be absolute disaster, ends up in a gain that takes him right near midfield.
Well, that's what size can do for you. It's hard to get him on the ground. They like to wear you down over time. They play in these grind-them-out, low-scoring games through most of the year, and then just hope that in that second half your defense is just going to grow tired of tackling their big fellas. But that doesn't mean they can't get after you in the first quarter of games.
It was Troy Evans that was in the backfield. Kind of hit him first. Ambrose caught it on the ricochet and took it for a gain of about 12. They called him a couple yards shy in midfield. Now they'll be into Goats territory. First completion of the night finds Terrell Brown.
Yeah, just a quick hitter there. That hitch route. One of the staples of a lot of offenses throughout this Arena League is those quick 4-yard hitters and let athletes make plays in space. But St. Joseph has actually been really good all season about not allowing very much as far as yards after the catch.
Usually if you can find that recipe, 4 yards per play in this sport, doesn't matter what level, what profession, it's going to take you to a lot of good success. Back to the air for Ambrose. Over the middle, caught, hit right away, and they will call the play dead there. Jalen Jordan, the man to make the initial stop for St. Joe.
And Brown getting involved in back-to-back plays. Hot Springs we keep hyping up their defense, talking about how sound they are on that side of the ball, but here's the offense coming out and telling everybody, hey, we're a 3-2 football team. We don't do it with just one side of the ball. Don't just stop talking about us. And obviously with a win here, they jump into the 2 seed, which would give you a first-round bye in that playoff. So you mentioned how big this is for both teams.
A lot on the line. Ambrose this time not going to get away from the pressure. Sandwiched by some Goats defenders, wrapping him up, Malik Wilson. And that's a big sack for the St. Joe defense. Now 13 total combined in the last about 9 quarters or so.
That's been a huge key to their defense this year. The turnovers haven't quite been there like they were last year, so the thing that they've been using to help them flip games and flip momentum defensively to get these stops has been pressure. And they hadn't really been getting it on those first 3 plays. The blocking up front for the Wiseguys had been holding up, but right there, Malik Wilson, the speed rush move, got around his man. Big-time defensive play. 7
total sacks in the win 2 weeks ago against Eau Claire. Now scrambling again, Ambrose dumps it off to the safety valve, and Goats are there, wrapping up the big fella. He found it to Vincent Hobbs, 6'3", 240 out of East Texas A&M and University of Colorado, but nice job by the Goats defense there to wrap up. Now a 3rd and long.
I love that slant pressure coming from the Goats up front. When you've only got 3-man protection, it's hard to really communicate like you would in a typical 11-man game. And you bring some of these complex looks with your blitzes, it can really screw up the blocking scheme. And right there, they got 2 guys coming in clean, forced them to kind of run a jailbreak of a play.
2 downs to get to the 6th to keep this drive alive. Ambrose with time, now stepping up, he can run, and he will. Here goes Jordan Ambrose, who's tripped up well short of the line to gain. On to stop Jalen Knox, had a beautiful game 2 weeks ago here at home, and the dominant win against Eau Claire.
Now, based on how St. Joseph has fared this year defensively on those 4th and forevers, would you almost argue it was better to get this into a 4th and more normal here? Those 4th and 20s have been killing them. You know, 4th and 8, we'll take it at this point. It might be better. But that was just a case of Ambrose. Not much there. A stunt up front from the Goats defensively. The old Tampa Bay twist. And Ambrose stepped right through it, made something happen where there wasn't a whole lot going downfield.
Those trips over to the right side. Ambrose able to shake off Reynolds, flips it in over the hands of his man. Incomplete. Lou Dorsey, if he brings that in, he might score. Outside of picking up the 1st down, but the pressure from Mike Reynolds and company wrecking that play up, and now flags will fly here at the end as we might have some unsportsmanlike being handed out.
Yeah, I think that's going to be for throwing Ambrose's cleat after the play. You can't be doing that. And we'll see if this just backs up the Goats' offense.
The play, unsportsmanlike, number 20.
So it will stay with the Goats as it was after the play, as we assumed, for throwing the cleat. And that will be his first personal foul.
I believe it was 22. That was Ojo Zawifel.
So Mike Reynolds makes a brilliant defensive play. He's made a number of those all season, Dylan. And then just an unfortunate, I mean, you can't really call it anything other than boneheaded decision there from Mojo, ripping off the cleat of Ambrose and then throwing it toward the bench. I mean, there's no level of football where that's going to be allowed.
I mean,
now we'll see if the offense can bail him out.
I mean, the only benefit of that is you didn't have a whole lot of yards to back up, but now taking a snap in his own end zone, a little shovel pass to Otis Odom. Look at him make some yardage happen.
Well, they got the yards back. Otis Odom, the penalty eraser. I mean, he brings the energy, listed at 5'5", 140 pounds, but he brings the juice.
Smith down the field. Incomplete.
That was just underthrown. Boo Smith, double coverage, but he did have the step. You lead him up the field. He was behind both defenders, but the ball just a little bit underthrown there.
And Roderick Chapman and Zeno Hannibal both in coverage, and I believe it was Chapman that got his paw on that ball, and immediately, right as he was about at the Hot Springs 20, Smith put the hand up, and if you're Trujillo, you got the best receiver in the league, you might as well throw it down to him. Now a dump off short to Smith. He lowers the shoulder, and into the stands he goes. Ball gets swatted away. There's a free souvenir.
One of the benefits of getting those sideline seats here in the Arena League. You get to go home with that football.
Mm-hmm.
And a nice job on 2nd down and 10, erasing half of it.
Already second reception of the game. Now Williams, a little hook and ladder as he goes right back. I believe that was Odom out of the backfield who kind of Superman poses up against the wall. Very fitting, a new Superman out in theaters. And let's see if they're going to give him the yardage or not. Initially, it looks like it's going to be,
I think he was
they're
just
going to
about
say
a
fourth
yard
down.
shy.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to the naked eye, but we'll see where they spot it, and it will be 4th down and 1 here, Dylan. And they've got their scat back, not exactly their power back on the field.
Basically 4th and inches, smart play there. Quick shiftiness of Odom pushed into the wall, and Odom. This is becoming the Odom drive right now.
Yeah, he's been making a couple of plays, and I just mentioned they didn't have their power back in. They had Odom. Must have heard me, felt disrespected. They go right to him in some space. Easily gets that 1st down.
And now we're going to have a timeout on the field. Play will stop here for just a few moments. Looking over to the chain game. I think they're attending over to that wall where the play before where Odom kind of Superman out and collided with the wall. There was a lot of pressure and maybe just making sure the structure of that far side wall is all okay. Last thing you want is someone to go right into that wall and it tumbles over and into the fans. We've seen a few instances of kind of play on the field spilling over into the sideline suites for the worst, but they stop. They say everything's all good. So Goats drive will pick up here. Already a chance to make it a 2-score game here in the first quarter as we're about 6 minutes left here to go. Dylan Funk alongside Aaron Feely. Right at midfield, Trujillo will take the snap. Pressure coming, lobs it, looking for Washington.
Oh,
He's got it. Over the wall he goes, still able to hang on. Touchdown, St. Joe.
That is now both touchdowns scored today. That we talked about that technique versus athleticism battle. And right now, it's 2 amazing athletic plays that have gotten St. Joseph in the end zone. Both times the coverage has been good, Dylan. The Wise guys have been perfectly in position. They played it well, and then a St. Joe receiver just made a superhuman play.
Unbelievable catch for Washington, his 2nd week here on the active roster. And now a fire to the back of the end zone, and the conversion is good.
These wide receivers are eating down there, Dylan, and somehow very little of it has been the reigning league MVP, Boo Smith. They've been going to the new names here tonight. Lorenzo Thompson, Demarius Washington going up high, looking like DeAndre Hopkins down there. And now some free footballs being handed out to some fans in attendance.
No doubt about it. Demarius Washington, 6'5", 195 pounds, out of Dallas, Texas. He made his debut with the Goats last week, 6 receptions, 36 yards and no touchdowns 2 weeks ago, I should say, the last home game for St. Joe coming out of the bye week over the holiday weekend. And, you know, he's had time in the around professional football, most recently with the Salina Liberty, where he caught passes from former Goats quarterback Rakeem Cato this past season. He made his way here up to St. Joe, and he has provided some more height and size to this receiving core. And like you mentioned, Aaron, a lot of it was Boo Smith last year, and I think that might have been the focus coming up from Kansas City to St. Joe this year is like, we love having Boo Smith. He's great. Ryan Martinez, you can hand the ball, throw him the ball too, but it'd be nice to add another weapon or two. And I feel like now with Lorenzo Thompson, they had that, and now you have him and Washington both. I mean, there's a reason why this offense has really been clicking over the last 2 or 3 games as they start this game perfect, 2 for 2, going for touchdowns.
Not an
Vision into the
ideal
wall again.
Not an ideal throw off there. A little bit too much of a line drive. Allowed Washington to get their wall set up, and a nice chunk, basically as good as a straight throw out of bounds as he got up near the 20, and now we've got a Goats player down.
Yeah,
looks like he got caught up in the carpet.
Yeah, they collided hard. Crockett, the return man for Hot Springs, was a little slow to get up, was without his helmet, and now a man down here for St. Joe. And like you mentioned, the carpet kind of being dug up there, so they're going to have to take some time to flatten that. It was Marcus Mojo Zweifel again down the field. He gets up, walking out on his own power. Good to see as always. That was hard contact going down right into the wall, so they're going to make sure all that is set up and good here. So now kind of turn the attention to Hot Springs here, Aaron. I'm sure they watched the tape from 2 weeks ago and knowing how this Goats offense was humming against Eau Claire, you never want to use the term you got to have it necessarily, but you're already down 13-0. You would like to at least come out and have a response on this drive to keep yourselves hanging around, because if you give St. Joe another chance without putting up any points, if they could go down and make it a 3-score game, you get this crowd in the garage here at Tech Team Field in the Civic Arena at St. Joe. I mean, we could be looking at a potential rout early, potentially. But.
Yeah, and I mean, we all know how explosive this St. Joseph offense is. It's been the thing that's kept them in a lot of the games this year, even when they've lost. So if you're Hot Springs, you definitely have to be in the back of your mind thinking about not just based on where you are score-wise right now, but you know St. Joseph is going to put up big points today. Even against your defense, it's looking like they've got the edge. They put up big points every week. You just have to start focusing on, hey, we know they're going to score around 50 or more. We're going to have to hit that number too, so let's get going. We're running out of first quarter play. We don't want the clock to strike triple zeros and us still looking up there. I mean, you know, with their usual point scoring for most of this year where they've been in the low 40s, sometimes breaching into the 50s, you know St. Joseph is going to be putting up some high point totals.
For Hot Springs, it took them all the way into week 5 to get 50 or more. They put up 57 against the Ozark Lunkers in a win, 57-48. So arguably both teams coming into this game with the bye week sandwiched in between, but coming off both their teams' respective best offensive performances of this 2025 season. But right now, early advantage to St. Joe. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. The last drive for Hot Springs ended with the turnover on downs. So they were getting close to scoring range. And now Ambrose pressured here, and another, not going to be a sack as he was able to get it out at the last second. Heads up play there, but he finds Lou Dorsey again.
The boy from Illinois, over in my original neck of the woods, went to the University of Illinois. Great play by Ambrose in the backfield, totally wrapped up. Looked like St. Joseph brought yet another well-timed, well-disguised blitz that they didn't have an answer to until the answer just became Ambrose making a superhuman play.
This time they crash in on Ambrose, not going to let him run. Clarence Taylor III. And going to have some words with Kyle Lester, the lineman for Hot Springs, who took some exception there to the end of Taylor holding on to that leg after a second or two after the whistle was blown. But
yeah, I mean, not many linemen are going to be too terribly thrilled about you finishing with a single leg takedown on their quarterback.
And not too many going to be really that polite about it, I would think, either.
No, I think maybe Taylor just kind of explained himself after that is the only thing I can imagine. But
probably a stern first and final warning, I would imagine.
Well, either way, it's going to bring up 3rd and long here.
Loss on the play, 3rd and 10. Ambrose looking to go back to the air. Down the field he goes. Has a man, and over the wall he goes. My goodness. Back in coverage, Ryan Martinez for St. Joe, and all our attention now turns to the receiver for Hot Springs. Is he okay? And he is. Aaron Dilworth. He hops back over the wall. Leading receiver, 232 yards and 9 touchdowns this year for Hot Springs. Thankful to see him get back over the wall. He took a tumble head over heels.
Yeah, and he's kind of one of those modern styles that receivers like to use. He doesn't go knee pads, which normally is just fine on the turf. But then you'd end up taking a, like you said, head down, feet up tumble right over that wall and end up over on the concrete. Suddenly maybe wishing the knee pads were in place as he came up a bit gimpy.
Hot Springs not going to surrender here. They're going to go for it. 4th and 10. They need to get to the other 20. Down the field. How about more? Touchdown, Hot Springs.
That was just a busted play, too. That was just a scramble drill all the way. The original play was an out and up as they were looking to get that one to Terrell Brown. He ran the out, he ran the up, then he turned it into a comeback. His quarterback was scrambling around. They had a crosser going to Aaron Dilworth again, but after the last one, I don't think they were going to try to throw that one twice in a row. And then finally, just kind of improvising, and Terrell Brown heads to the post. Ambrose hit him perfectly. A great throw, by the way, from a sidearm position. And Hot Springs desperately needed that one.
Yes.
And again, 4th down and long. Been a problem for this St. Joe defense.
They go over the top, do the Wiseguys, and they score. Now looking for the 2-point try. Bat it down. Ziploc tight defense from Jalen Knox. So it just stays 6 points up on the board. 7-point ball game, 13-6 between the Goats and the Wiseguys. And that brings us to the point we were talking about before that drive started of you never want to say the term. You got to have it here, a must-score drive, especially, first quarter in a game. There's still plenty of time, as always. This game can still go one way or the other, but you felt like all the momentum was on St. Joe's side. You got to have a score there, some kind of response if you were Hot Springs. And on fourth and 10, you're in your own territory. You had to get to the Goats 20, and it said they go down the field 30 yards exactly on the dot to Terrell Brown, who's already now 3 receptions in this game, 42 yards and a touchdown. Makes things a little bit more interesting here.
And now it's going to be up to that explosive St. Joe offense. They have been steamrolling over the Wiseguys' vaunted #1 ranked league defense. Can the Wiseguys defense come up clutch in this moment? This will be an interesting drive to observe.
Odom back to receive on the throw off for St. Joe in the air. He'll take it at about the 2. Big lane, able to break through and using the speed. Odom, great return. Past the 20 he goes. They'll mark him at the 22. Another great return for Otis Odom. He's been doing it all season long on the throw-off return.
Otis Odom, as you mentioned, one of the quicker, more explosive guys. You give him that one lane. Normally you think of quick, speedy guys like that. You kind of think of the highlight reel, almost Dante Hall-esque, cut back, juke, making 1,000 moves. He really is more of a one-cut runner, though, for his size. He's got that good vision. He finds a hole, and he explodes through it.
Oh, how about that for Trujillo? One play. That's all they need. Boo Smith, his first of the night.
Well, now they found #1. We talked earlier that it hadn't been a whole lot of Boo Smith to this point. They got him involved there. It was man coverage down the field, and you don't want to play too much one-on-one against the St. Joseph Goats because Boo Smith wins almost every single time.
They came with the pressure. Trujillo able to get around it, and you live by the sword, you die by the sword too. He finds Boo Smith for 6. And now another missile. Again, it's Thompson. And St. Joe a perfect 3 for 3 to start this game. This offense, white hot.
Now you and I talked about it off camera in the pregame, Dylan, what this matchup was going to look like from the perspective of Hot Springs comes in. They're one of the biggest, if not the biggest, just as far as muscle mass out there on the field team in this league. They rely on that grinded out physical style of play, beat you in the fourth quarter. St. Joe, they might be the fastest team in the league. I mean, this was truly the ultimate battle of styles. And in a sport like arena football, with the rules being what they were, I thought this was a huge matchup advantage for St. Joseph. Even though the Wiseguys came in with that one-game advantage over St. Joe, I thought just in a head-to-head style battle, no matter how they match up with other teams, against each other, I thought St. Joseph was going to have a big advantage, and right now, that's exactly what it's looking like. The Wiseguys just have no answers for the just sheer athleticism that St. Joseph has brought to this field.
It's starting to look like the Goats offense from last season that was tops in the league in every statistical category after their slow, sluggish start. They are looking back to prime form, and now a return out of the end zone, trying to get past to his 5, and again, great job by the throw-off coverage team getting down the field for St. Joe. Malik Wilson, John Gregory making his Goats debut tonight as Gregory, and many others in on the stop, and the return was from Jordan Smith, 6'1", 210, out of Oklahoma Panhandle State University. Back against the wall.
Kind of enjoyed down the field, too, watching on that play. Oscar Scott from the Goats and Darren Labatt are really finishing that play strong. They end up getting into each other's pads. Good physical play up the field. Way off of the point of where the action was going on, but both of them end up heading to the ground. They both hopped up, almost looking really aggressive-like, like they were going to get into it, and then just both dapped each other up and patted the helmet and on to the next play. Pair of big physical guys.
No shortage of that in this league.
Just loving football.
Ambrose again from his own end zone, pressured by Wilson, dumps it off, first down and more. Look at the big fellow rumble as he's gets his legs cut out from underneath him. Vincent Hobbs, his second catch of the ball game.
You want to talk about big physical guys listed at 240 pounds, big 6'3". They've got him on the roster as a wide receiver tight end. He doesn't play a whole lot of wide receiver.
Yeah.
Good traditional Y tight end. They leave him in to block a lot.
This time, Brown. Quick hitter there for Hot Springs.
A lot of the fans around this area not too fond of wide receivers wearing that number with that last name around these right about now.
A.J. Brown of the Philadelphia Eagles, that's your reference there.
And right now, he's been the Hot Springs #1 offensive option.
So far, team leading 4th reception. Hobbs, the only other one with 2, and Dorsey with 1. Ambrose with time, now starting to run out of it, and he'll throw it away. Nice catch by a fan in the stands.
That was great coverage down the field, but also really, really good pursuit from the defensive front. Obviously, they weren't getting in Ambrose's face, but that's what you want to do against a guy with the rushing ability of a Jordan Ambrose. Neither of them broke their contain lane. They kept him in front of him. They said, you're not stepping up. You're throwing from right where you are. You might get this pass off. We're not going to get the sack, but there's no chance that you're stepping up in this pocket, and it led to the throwaway.
Defense pressure has been getting home for St. Joe, and that's the end of the first quarter here. 20-6, Goats with the lead.
Ricky Dean's is St. Joe's headquarters for family fun. Test your skills at mini golf, swing in the batting cages, and reach for the sky up the rock wall, all while enjoying a cold beverage and food. Only at Ricky Dean's, the fun place to go in St. Joe. All new, all fun, all affordable, nowhere else local. Your family will find a whole new world of fun when you enter. Come visit Ricky Dean's, the fun place to go in St. Joe.
Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water. Your family deserves the best water, and Culligan is here to help. No matter the quality, no matter the source, if you want better water that's crisp, clean, soft, and delicious, Culligan can make it happen.
We'll test your water, determine the issues, and provide you with a customized treatment solution to suit your needs. Contact Culligan today to receive your free water analysis.
Have no fear. Fiber Fast Speed is on the way from your local United Fiber experts. We're here to help every step of the way. With lightning fast speeds, you can stream, game, and connect with confidence. Experience the United difference for yourself today.
Every second counts. On the field, every player matters. And in our communities, every person deserves quality care. That's why Healthy Connections is proud to be the official medical provider of the Hot Springs Wiseguys, supporting the team and you. From the exam room to the end zone, we're here for your health, your family, and your future. Visit healthy-connections.org or call 888-710-8220. Let's go Wiseguys!
3 for 3. Hot Springs, a turnover on downs the first drive, and then a touchdown on 4th and 10, a 30-yard strike on their second drive. And now looking to respond here, Dylan Funk alongside Aaron Feely. High energy as always here in downtown St. Joseph, Missouri. A couple of weeks away from welcoming the world champion Kansas City Chiefs into training camp. And now more pressure again, and this has been the big takeaway, like you mentioned, Aaron, not letting the dual threat of Jordan Ambrose really be a factor. This defensive pressure from St. Joe, it's been phenomenal.
They've been incredible up front. It's only, I believe, the second actual sack of the ball game to this point. It might be the third. But either way, even when they're not getting home and getting the official sacks on the stat sheet, they have been incredible at just the classic do your job. They're beating Hot Springs at their own game right now in keeping their contains, not making any mistakes up front.
So another
mistakes like calling the Kansas City Chiefs the reigning world champions, Dylan.
They're world champion class. Oh my goodness, and there's a fight breaking out over on the Hot Springs sideline. Now a 4th and 12 play. Gotta have it here. Oh my. Low coverage, but it goes incomplete. Ambrose throwing out of pressure again. And if it was just a little closer, without a doubt, Vincent Hobbs takes that. And it's another touchdown given up on 4th and long. But meanwhile, over there on the Wiseguys bench, what could be happening over there? A full-out brawl breaking out.
Yeah, I was trying to get some numbers, and I couldn't see who it was involved with it, but now teammates having to be separated on the Wiseguys bench. And like you mentioned, it was looking like it was going to be another blown 4th down and long coverage for the Goats defense, and they caught a massive break. A clean overthrow. Vincent Hobbs, I mean, he's doing a touchdown dance in our end zone right now if that ball's on the money. And you want to talk about coming apart at the seams right now for Hot Springs.
This is not a good sign. Down to the ground goes for St. Joe and Jarius Burnett, and getting minimal yardage there. Whistle's blowing as we'll slow things down here.
Yeah, the Goats trying to argue that Hot Springs.
So a timeout for Hot Springs is going to be taken here, and
they were trying to argue that Hot Springs didn't quite get their extra man off the field in time, but I believe they snapped that ball with 6 guys on the field. So it wasn't an extra guy that was over in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah,
he was the 7th man. He was just chilling over by his teammates for some reason.
Yep. I mean, and that's going to be kind of the story for me as this game continues to go along, because we've seen tempers flare and passion spill over a little bit in the field of play, usually against a player or somebody that's got the opposite colored jersey as you in the game, but we have never seen a full friendly fire in the own bench area. There's a little bit of a scuffle going on here. Don't want to show signs of, like you kind of mentioned, falling apart early. There's still plenty of ball game left here, but Goats knocking on the door of yet another touchdown, already up 20-6. Trujillo got to take this one himself. Gets a nice block from Burnett, takes it inside the 5 and is met and pushed backwards a yard or 2. First down picked up nonetheless, but not before you paid the price for it there at the end.
Now, thankfully, Trujillo, a guy who last year was not the starting quarterback. He was a defensive back for this team, so a physical player.
Goal to go at the 4, and he'll look to throw again. Now coming back, got another nice block, and it's intercepted. A throw over the middle of the field and a blindside block. Running it all the way back, and Boo Smith will wrap him up before he gets to the St. Joe 10-yard line. That's Jordan Smith on the interception.
And I tell you what, I don't know if he was rattled from the last play or what, but I thought Trujillo had a running lane if he wanted to take it.
No doubt.
One guy miss and score. And you want to talk about just handing a plate of momentum back over when you had a chance to absolutely get the kill shot there. Hot Springs defense finally comes up with a stand. It's been the side of the ball that they've relied on for most of the year, and it might just be the side of the ball that gets them back into this football game.
11th total interception taken on the season for this Hot Springs team. And for Jordan Smith, his season debut, he was invited to training camp back in January. First game suiting up, and now he's got his first interception, and that's got the Wiseguys in prime position as they overthrow to the end zone, intended for Aaron Dilworth. But yeah, like you mentioned, Aaron, everything that we saw from the brawl over at the bench and the turnover on downs, Goats were right there at the 4-yard line, goal to go. Looking to make it a 3-score game, and then for Angelo Trujillo, that interception just on a great return as well. Handing with a nice big bow wrapped up nicely for Hot Springs. A potential chance for them to get right back into this ball game.
And if the defense can make a stand, though, let's talk about the effort by Boo Smith on the back end of that.
Reynolds, and a flag comes in. He feels like he was held in. He's still going to come around. He's going to get a piece of that sack. Ball comes loose. Whistles were blowing pretty quick.
I think he was up when he lost control of that ball. But
Ojo Sawaifel on the recovery. The flag is going to be holding. We do know that for a fact, but
so here's the question. There is video review in the Arena League here, Dylan. The question is going to be, do you think you've got a camera angle that you feel good enough about to bother challenging this, that he might have been up when he lost that football? There was a clear recovery by Mojo Zawaifel. Mike Reynolds, though, you want to talk about high effort, was held on the play, came back and got the sack. And now it's 3rd down and long. Oh, he's thinking about throwing it. And he's going to say no.
So they declined the holding penalty. It was a loss on the play. So 3rd and 14. Mike Reynolds gets into the backfield. 3rd collective sack of the game for St. Joe. Should honestly have about 4. Ambrose has been a magician at times. He's looking to do it again here. And now the ball is loose. And again, the whistles blow early.
That one for sure, I'm fairly certain he was down.
I agree.
He lost that ball, but that looked painful going down there. Took one right to the knee.
And we got another flag, though, so this all could be for nothing, and it will be.
77, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
Yeah, and that was Reynolds forcing the holding penalty again. He has been a monster at times this year. We've had a couple of games on the call where Reynolds has been less called by us up here in the booth. But the games where he decides he's going to take over, I mean, he takes over.
He is a force of nature, no doubt about it. The former Kansas Jayhawk. He is really, to me, I go back to the second game here at home against the Iowa Woo. He really kind of found his second gear there. 3 total sacks, a scoop and score touchdown, and he has just been on fire ever since. Throw to the end zone. And, oh, did he catch it off the ricochet? He did. They say incomplete. So Troy Evans doing his best to plead the case that he caught it in coverage. Jalen Knox. And I can say off the wall and falls down incomplete.
I like the concept there. They used motion to try to get a scissor route going down the field. You had a wheel from the inside guy and a post up top. Not a traditional scissor with the post in the corner, but the same general rub concept to get a guy on that far corner and, of course, toward the middle post. St. Joe, though, just didn't fall for it, didn't get bumped off by it, had the good coverage, and now these 4th and longs.
Trying to put the woes to bed here. This is essentially a 4th and 24. Ambrose going to the end zone, has a man, 3 blue jerseys. It goes incomplete.
Danger there is that they played it so well. They had 3 guys in front of the ball and they batted it. But because all 3 of them played it so well, the ball actually bounced and hit off the wall. And the only player still on his feet was the intended target, number 1, Aaron Dilworth, who was unable to get over there in time. But that could have been one of the more "are you kidding me" type moments of the year for St. Joseph.
At that point, you're just assuming that on any 4th and long play, if you're St. Joe, you're just cursed at this point. You did something and you would be cursed, but that ends up not being the case. But like you mentioned, though, how about the effort from the defense and for Boo Smith on the rundown on the interception to have that turnover not be too painful for St. Joe. Now, a little dump off here to Otis Odom. He versus past the Hot Springs 20 down to the 19.
So that goes down as at least a 6-point tackle from Boo Smith on the effort.
Trujillo this time will take off and run and not going to get too far. It looks like he's going to be about a yard short.
Decent chunk of change there, though.
Another dump off. Odom going to have to make a couple of guys miss, and I don't think he got it. Ball comes loose. Whistles will come in again as he could not slip free of Roderick Chapman, who was settled down and waiting for him.
And that is exactly what this Hot Springs defense is all about. They don't miss tackles.
Yeah, end up being a loss on a play, so about 4th and 2, and it goes awry. So 4 and out will go St. Joe here.
So there you have it. Another defensive stand here for Hot Springs as St. Joseph unable to again hit the killing blow. So perhaps a small shift in the power balance between the St. Joe offense and this Wiseguys defense.
First quarter for this offense of St. Joe, 3 for 3, 3 drives, 3 touchdowns. So far here in the second, 2 drives, no scores, 1 interception, and now that turnover on down. Continue to let the Wiseguys hang around in this one, and Hot Springs again a touchdown away from giving this ball game brand new breath. You start to feel a little bit of a lull start to sit in here with the fans inside the Civic Arena. 2 in motion. Ambrose surveying, now fires, looking for the big hitter down the field. He's got Hobbs, and he's incomplete. He had it once and twice, and then falling down to the turf, knocked it loose for a 3rd time.
They call that dirty defense, Dylan, and I love it. Ryan Martinez didn't look pretty. It wasn't one of those nice, clean, batted passes, hit a celebration afterwards. That was just battling with Hobbs the whole way. It was in his hands. Rip, claw, peel a finger back. Do what you got to do and get that ball out of his possession and get it onto that turf.
And how about for Ryan Martinez, traditionally an offensive player. He's getting more defensive snaps here tonight, and he's been holding his own. Now a run up the middle, Troy Evans, and he's not going to get too far. Jalen Jordan there on the stop.
That was a good, clean form tackle from Jalen Jordan.
Agreed.
Open space, prevent a big gain, force the 3rd down, and we'll call it long, but here in the Arena League, we've certainly seen longer.
Oh, yeah. And 2 downs to get essentially 7-8 yards Very doable. Now the St. Joe faithful starting to get loud, rally behind their defense, looking for a stop. Evans in motion, snap back to Ambrose, eyes down the field, finds Terrell Brown up against the wall, and he's got that first down yardage and a few more.
And we got a Goats player, and unfortunately, I think that's Clarence Taylor. He's still leaning on that wall right now. He's not feeling too great.
Fifth reception of the night for Terrell Brown, and for Clarence Taylor, who's kind of after the first couple of weeks of the season, was added to this roster. What a huge pickup he has been. He's going to stay in the game, even though maybe not quite 100%. Ambrose looking to run. Wilson wrapping him up, and still Ambrose, the big body, physical presence of Jordan Ambrose, able to carry Malik Wilson and still makes that a very modest gain.
I loved on the back end the coverage from St. Joe too. Communicated well, passed it off brilliantly. Outside receiver ran a little inside sit route. It's almost like you start to run a slant and then you just hitch it at about 5 yards and then a wheel underneath it. And St. Joe did so well, but then Ambrose just made something happen.
It was a design quarterback run, and it does not go far with Jalen Jordan in there again, Mike Reynolds, Jalen Knox as well. Collective stop for St. Joe, 3rd and short.
Love what we're seeing defensively from St. Joe tonight. Has not been the strength of their team like it was last year thus far this season. They've had their struggles, but here tonight looking good on this side of the ball. Now we'll see how they look on a 3rd down and short against a big running quarterback like Ambrose.
Under 4 to go until halftime. Pressure coming, breaking through Jordan. Ambrose able to step aside, but he's not going to get away. Jordan, Reynolds, Wilson, the trifecta with the sack.
Went down kind of hard, but clean. Nobody with an extra shove or anything. The pile just kind of falling over, and that's how they play it, is it? That was wildly excellent defense and pursuit and contain. Everything done well on that 3rd down and short, but now you got another play, you're going to have to do it. And we'll see if this Goats defense can make yet another big-time stand.
17 sacks in the last, closing in on 10 quarters of action for this St. Joe defense. They have just found a spark. A lot of credit to Mike Reynolds up front. He has been huge, and seen tonight Jalen Jordan, Malik Wilson, others able to get pressure on Ambrose, get him scrambling, and give Reynolds a chance to break free off his block and wrap him up. That's been huge. We knew that Ambrose was the big dual threat, now over 500 rushing yards and over 800 passing yards total on the season. You knew the Goats were going to kind of have to find a way to contain him, and so far they've done that through about 2 quarters of action.
No Mike Reynolds on the field here, which is interesting.
The Weifel on the pressure this time, and it's batted down by Jordan. Another turnover on downs forced by this St. Joe defense, their 4th of the night.
Great play by Jordan, but even if that pass had gotten past him, the coverage, he was looking for that little stick route to his tight end. I believe he was going there for Vincent Hobbs, and he was well covered just past the sticks. I don't think the pass would have been completed regardless. Man, St. Joseph, they have been working on that defense this week.
Yeah, and how about this recent snap? Just 1 of 6 for his last 7 attempts for Jordan Ambrose for total of 10 yards. And the 3rd turnover on downs forced. We have not had a score by either team here in the second half. Jarius Burnett trying to change that. Big play.
Goodness gracious, what a run.
Two-minute warning is coming up here. As Trujillo will get it away, had Jamal Williams, and drops in and out of his hands, incomplete. Pressure on the play for Hot Springs there from Darren Primes.
Would have been a negligible gain regardless, but obviously never fun when you have to drop that ball.
Trying to signal for the 2-minute timeout, but play resumes. Another good area for Jarius Burnett. He had a lane as he stretched out on that left side, and another first down picked up for Jarius Burnett.
Ceding a lot of his playing time at running back to Odom here tonight, and now that he's gotten his chance on this drive, he is making the most of it.
Inside the 5, he'll go. Making the most of it here, Jarius Burnett.
Love to see him grinding out here.
3 yards away. Fake it to him. Trujillo pressured, fires. Jamal Williams. This time he catches it. Touchdown, St. Joseph.
Now that's how you make up for a mistake. Dropped the 1 yard meaningless pass. Makes up for it with a touchdown. And there you finally go. There's the kill shot from this offense. Puts them up by 3 scores. Man, St. Joseph clearly understanding the stakes that were on the line here tonight, and they've come to play.
Conversion attempt, no good, wide right as he was trying to hit Lorenzo Thompson. Just not quite on line from Trujillo, but finally we were held at 20-6 ever since the end of the first quarter, and it took us under a minute here into the second, and that touchdown now makes it 26-6 for the Goats.
Hey, it's Bob with
Oaklawn and Hot Springs is home to amazing weekends and unlimited possibilities. Is your Oaklawn having a big night at the tables? Or a day doing nothing at all by the pool? Is it great food and great friends in the Oak Room? Or complete solitude in the Astral Spa? At Oaklawn, it can be whatever you want. Plan your Hot Springs getaway at oaklawn.com now, because your weekend and your Oaklawn is waiting.
This is my Oaklawn. What's yours?
This summer, get lake ready with Bobbers Lake Life, your one-stop shop for all things outdoors in beautiful Hot Springs. Whether you're lounging by the dock or diving in headfirst, Bobbers has you covered, literally, with the latest swimsuits and clothing for men, women, and kiddos in every size, style, and price range. From sun-up adventures to sunset chillin', we've got the gear to make sure you're looking and feeling your best. And here's something to cheer about. We're proud supporters of the Hot Springs Wiseguys. Mention this ad from the Wiseguys game and score an exclusive discount at checkout. Swing by Bobbers Lake Life, where fashion meets fun on the water. Here in Hot Springs, right where you belong. Bobbers Lake Life. Live it, wear it, love it.
And fourth total in the game. 20-point lead now as St. Joe. We've been waiting for that offense to kind of deliver that sucker punch to really put them good distance between themselves and Hot Springs again. How about Booth Smith? Oh, look at him. How about that for good tackle getting down on the coverage team on a throw off?
That's 2 now tonight where Booth Smith has shown that he's not a one-dimensional player.
No doubt about it.
He can go down there and lay the lumber.
We're very familiar with his defensive prowess. We saw him in the second game at home last season when we were at Municipal in downtown Kansas City. He had 3 interceptions, all 3 for pick sixes against the Iowa Woo. And it was on his birthday of all days, too. He ended up making a lot of highlights on local news, including what you need to see today on KSHB 41. So we know he's just an all-well-rounded athlete, the kid out of Mizzou. Pressure again from Ambrose. He's been fleeing almost the whole night, but able to get away. And again, hard to bring down as he backpedals his way into a first down.
He's been fleeing most of the night, but he's also been turning a lot of them into that. He has been remarkable once he crosses that line of scrimmage.
And Hot Springs deferring after winning the toss, so they will get the ball to start the second half. So down 20, where things currently sit. Find a way to score this drive, hold St. Joe scoreless. Open up the second half with the score. Again, brand new ball game. Terrell Brown wrapped up immediately, brought down on the play.
That's going to run that clock too. He didn't get the first, so they're going to have to burn a timeout.
I believe it should be the second timeout going to be taken here for Hot Springs. That stops the clock at 23 seconds. So again, it has been Terrell Brown, the favorite receiver so far tonight for Jordan Ambrose. 62 yards and 1 touchdown already in this first half alone. As for the St. Joe Goats, you could say it's been Boo Smith or Lorenzo Thompson, both with 3 total receptions and 1 receiving touchdown. The one for Boo was from 28 yards. Lorenzo Thompson was for 13. Otis Odom, he's been getting into the receiving game tonight as well. 5 total receptions for him. And the one for Demarius Washington, a possibly contender for Week 7 play of the week. The very first touchdown here tonight where he caught it, kind of pinned it in between his legs and was over the wall into the nearest field suite. It was a great play to get us started here tonight. And I imagine we're going to be seeing that as one of the big contenders for, again, the Week 7 play of the week. It's kind of hard to really top that, I would imagine, unless it's the same circumstance, but a game winner scenario, I don't know. But you can kind of catch a pass in between your legs and hold on to it as you tumble over a wall and hit the ground on the other side. That's a terrific play. Ambrose firing. This one's going to drift out of play. And a fan had a chance to get it, trying to lean over the railing, but just off the fingertips, incomplete. He gets the ball anyways.
Yeah, and great work by St. Joseph to roll him out to his offensive left, because the tight end leaked out to the right, was just standing out in the flats wide open, but Ambrose just no opportunity to turn his head back direction and see him. So he just had to throw it away, thinking that he had no options down the field. The pressure doesn't always succeed by getting sacked. Sometimes it succeeds by just making you make mistakes.
No doubt about it.
Something that Hot Springs has not been known for this year.
Again, trying to take off and run and wrapping him up immediately. I believe that's got Mojo Sawifel in there on the stop.
I believe that was John Gregory who got him wrapped up.
Yep, John Gregory, number 21. Man making his season debut tonight for St. Joe. Filling in for Raymond Boone, not on the active roster, the man in the secondary for St. Joe. And the third and final timeout will be spent here by Hot Springs.
I was a little surprised St. Joseph didn't use a timeout off the sack with 14 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
You make the stop here on 4th down, you're going to get 1 or 2 plays to go to the end zone yourself. Instead, they let the clock run, which allowed Hot Springs to take the timeout very smartly, by the way, with 1 second left.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're going to get an opportunity to Hail Mary, so it doesn't matter that it's 4th down. I would have liked to see St. Joseph burn that timeout right with 14 seconds right after the sack. Interesting way to use the clock there.
Next, now you're in a situation for Hot Springs. You could go out there and pretty much say, hey, last play of the second half, take a shot to the end zone. And, you know, you always want to avoid the potential pick 6 on the return, sure, but just send bodies, everybody on a go, and we'll throw it to the end zone and let the best man or whoever on the best team come down with the reception one way or the other.
Especially knowing the struggles the Goats have had this year with big play situations.
No doubt. We've seen it happen to them tonight. It was a 4th and 10 where Hot Springs was in their own territory at their own 20. And
Well, I'll
it's a
say
30-yard
this.
strike for the touchdown.
Based on the defense St. Joe is lining up in, I can't imagine this throw goes to the end zone.
Pretty much prevent defense here.
I would say this is going to be short and then get some blockers in front, let somebody run and break a tackle.
Ambrose holding. It's going to be into the end zone. It goes off the video board. Oh, that video board here inside the Civic Arena. It has haunted both Goats players and opposing players alike. And that is how this first half will come to an end. 26-6. Fairly low-scoring affair, but St. Joe in control for the majority. 20-point lead going into halftime. So we'll step aside. Riley Underwood and the crew will have you taken care of. Halftime show coming up next.
Ride the bumper boats, climb to new heights on the rock wall, test your skills at mini golf, or take a swing in the batting cages. Ricky Dean's is St. Joe's headquarters for family fun. Grab a cold drink and enjoy delicious hot food only at Ricky Dean's. All new, all fun, all affordable. Conveniently located in the North Shops behind Target. Discover a whole new world of fun only at Ricky Dean's. Visit Ricky Dean's today, the fun place to go in St. Joe.
Trash your old RO. Score a touchdown with a new smart system. Upgrade now to an Aquasential Smart RO system and receive free standard installation.
Have no fear. Fiber Fast Speed is on the way from your local United Fiber experts. We're here to help every step of the way. With lightning fast speeds, you can stream, game, and connect with confidence. Experience the united difference for yourself today.
At halftime, St. Joseph, the hometown team, leads 26-6. Not quite as tight of a game as we initially thought. Riley Underwood alongside my partner, Aaron Feely. And so far, what we've seen has been the aerial attack. That's what we expect from the Goats, and that's what we've seen so far. Angelo Trujillo, the quarterback, 4 touchdowns so far.
Yeah, Trujillo obviously stepping into an unenviable position of being more of a defensive player last year, more of an athlete, playmaker type, asked to step into that starting quarterback role, and it wasn't even week 1 either. Completely different quarterbacking roster. When this season began, Trujillo stepped in when the team was down, brought him almost back against Iowa, and he's been the quarterback ever since. Done a great job. You and I kind of had a conversation in the pregame. We talked about how we thought these two teams would match up. I mentioned it on the broadcast, and it's kind of looking like how I thought it might. Hot Springs came in. They're a physical team. They're a big team. They like to grind it out, really get after you late in games. But St. Joe is just so athletic. They're so fast. They get on top of you early. They go to the aerial attack. That's just not Hot Springs' game. And if St. Joe was going to be able to get through their defense, I didn't think Hot Springs was going to have much offensively to match St. Joe in a shootout. And right now, they just haven't.
Not at the moment, because it's usually the running game that does it for Hot Springs. Jordan Ambrose, the best rushing quarterback in the league. He has 1 passing touchdown to Terrell Brown. Nothing pretty much on the ground. And the key to that has been the pressure. They've been getting so much pressure on him early. Mike Reynolds, a key playmaker in that regard.
Yeah, Mike Reynolds has been great. He's a bit of a streaky defensive player. He comes in, we've seen it on this broadcast, maybe once or twice. He's not going to fill up the stat sheet all that much, but when he does decide to get rolling, it's like a snowball down a mountain. It just keeps going and going and going. And unfortunately for Hot Springs, it's looking like one of those games from him. But then St. Joseph, who's had their struggles at other positions defensively, I've been very impressed with how they have rallied as a team on the defensive side of the ball. This is the best game they've played defensively from a scheme standpoint and from nobody making mistakes standpoint on the year.
And one thing you may not have seen on the broadcast, tensions boiling over on that Hot Springs sideline. We saw Darren Primes, the linebacker, get into a shoving match with one of his teammates who was actually in street clothes. We're still trying to confirm who that was, but they both went to the ground. One of them went to the locker room. Tensions boiling over in a tight game that just hasn't been so tight. It's been all Goats so far.
Yeah, it's an emotional game, the game of football. It's physical, it's competitive, it's fast-paced. Sometimes things boil over like that, and especially when you look up at the scoreboard and things just aren't going your way, it's not necessarily uncommon, but it's something that drives coaches up a wall. When it happens, I can guarantee you the coaching staff not going to be having any of it, not too pleased with it. And thankfully for Hot Springs, it seems like after it happened, they seemed to cool the heads down, got back through, managed to calm everybody back down. We were getting high-five lines along the benches. So that I think they've gotten themselves back level mentally. The thing is going to be, you're still down 3 scores, so no matter how calm you've managed to get yourself, at some point you got to start putting points on the scoreboard, and there just haven't been any openings to that St. Joe defense. So we're going to see if they can get outside their own game in this second half and see if they can't target some of their big playmakers down the field. Hot Springs is going to have to beat St. Joe at St. Joe's game to end up with a W here in the second half.
And you also got to get some stops too if you're the Wiseguys, because St. Joseph is pretty much driving down the field at will right now, and it's not just the reigning MVP Boo Smith. It's there's a lot of receivers that can do it. They're spreading it around. Ryan Martinez, Lorenzo Thompson, Otis Odom, they're all getting touches. Angelo Trujillo is doing a good job finding them.
Oh yeah, he's just taking what the defense gives him. Hot Springs doesn't typically give up a great deal, but there's always at least a little bit of space, and Trujillo's been on the money here tonight. And when he's given his guys an opportunity at those 50-50 balls, it has been amazing how just absolutely on it those receivers are here tonight. Probably, again, we talked about the defense. This might be one of the best games that receiving corps has played all year in a game where they're not necessarily creating the separation that they're used to creating. This is a team that relies on its speed a lot through a lot of weeks. That's why Boo Smith, normally one of the big-time receivers for this team, he's been held a little bit in check for his own numbers, but it's been those big, tall, physical guys that are just making plays. Coverage right on their hip. You know what? I'm going to go up. It's not a 50-50 ball. It's a 90-10 ball. That's the mentality that they seem to have here tonight.
And if the Wise Guys are going to get back into it, expect some big plays from number 5 on defense, DeWanda Crockett. He already has a kickoff return on the year for a touchdown. He also has a pick 6 on the year. He's really explosive, and that starts on the defensive side if Hot Springs want to get back into this one. That's all for our Arena Game Day halftime report. Farron Feely, Riley Underwood, thank you for joining us. Stick around for the second half, and we'll be back for post-game.
My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice cold. I'm only here to even a score. Whoa. My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice cold. We down right now, but did it before. Whoa. See from here we going up. Made the call, I shown up. Now the game is on up. Say my name is blown up. We up, 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 we up. See from here we go.
Oaklawn and Hot Springs is home to amazing weekends and unlimited possibilities. Is your Oaklawn having a big night at the tables? Or a day doing nothing at all by the pool? Is it great food and great friends in the Oak Room? Or complete solitude in the Astral Spa? At Oaklawn, it can be whatever you want. Plan your Hot Springs getaway at oaklawn.com now, because your weekend and your Oaklawn is waiting.
This is my Oaklawn. What's yours?
Trash your old RO. Score a touchdown with a new smart system. Upgrade now to an Aquasential Smart RO system and receive free standard installation.
This season, gear up with EWB your go-to for camouflage and outdoor apparel, built for the hunt and beyond. Shop now at www.ewbco.shop.
Every second counts. On the field, every player matters. And in our communities, every person deserves quality care. That's why Healthy Connections is proud to be the official medical provider of the Hot Springs Wiseguys, supporting the team and you. From the exam room to the end zone, we're here for your health, your family, and your future. Visit healthy-connections.org or call 888-710-8220. Let's go, Wiseguys!
This summer, get lake ready with Bobber's Lake Life, your one-stop shop for all things outdoors in beautiful Hot Springs. Whether you're lounging by the dock or diving in headfirst, Bobber's has you covered, literally, with the latest swimsuits and clothing for men, women, and kiddos in every size, style, and price range. From sun-up adventures to sunset chillin', we've got the gear to make sure you're looking and feeling your best. And here's something to cheer about. We're proud supporters of the Hot Springs Wiseguys. Mention this ad from the Wiseguys game and score an exclusive discount at checkout. Swing by Bobber's Lake Life, where fashion meets fun on the water. Here in Hot Springs, right where you belong. Bobber's Lake Life. Live it, wear it, love it.
Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water. Your family deserves the best water, and Culligan is here to help. No matter the quality, no matter the source, If you want better water that's crisp, clean, soft, and delicious, Culligan can make it happen.
We'll test your water, determine the issues, and provide you with a customized treatment solution to suit your needs. Contact Culligan today to receive your free water analysis.
In the quiet moments before dawn, champions are made. Every fan, every athlete, every moment counts. It's not just a game, it's a passion that unites us, drives us, and makes us strive for greatness. Greatness is wherever fans connect and call home. We believe in the power of the community. We believe in turning passion into action. We bring fans closer and transform loyalty into unforgettable experiences. Join us. Make every moment matter. Fan Club. Get your fans in the game.
Welcome to the Arena League,
where it pays to be a loyal fan.
My grind is set, my heart on ice cold. I'm only here to even the score. Whoa. My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice cold. We down right now, but did it before. Whoa. See from here we going up. Made the call, I shown up. Now the game is sewn up. Say my name is blown up. We up, 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 we up. See from here we go.
Coming out of halftime, about the start of the second half here in St. Joseph, Missouri, and a halftime score of 26-6. By Arena League standards, I'd say, Aaron, pretty low-scoring affair for one half of football, 26-6. But good news for the home faithfuls that the Goats find themselves with that 20-point advantage. And we knew the story coming into this one was going to be about the speed of St. Joe versus against that really stout defense of Hot Springs, and which one was kind of going to give in. And we knew right away from the first 3 drives of St. Joe, all 3 ending in touchdowns. Scoring for both teams slowed down in the second half. Just a lone touchdown, 6 points for St. Joe, scoreless in the second quarter for Hot Springs. Their own touchdown coming on a 30-yard bomb from Ambrose to Brown for 30 yards. But, I mean, outside of that, really, it's been all St. Joe in this one. We've seen some tempers flaring a little bit, and now you're coming into the second half. Still plenty on the line for both of these teams, and we'll see the Wiseguys with the football first. But, right now, we're talking about a team in the first half that had their bench kind of have a little bit of a brawl, some friendly fire in the midst of that game. That kind of, it was just one of the more bizarre things that we have seen. And to me, I think it's about on this first drive. How do you come out and respond? Not only to that, but also being held to just 6 points in the first half and knowing that the way that this Goats offense can really just get on a streak and all of a sudden really put the route on you. How do you respond? I guess we're going to find out here at this first drive, start the third quarter.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real gut check here early on for this Hot Springs offense, who has just been held absolutely in check by this St. Joe defense. The real matchup that everyone was excited to watch was, of course, going to be that St. Joe offense against the Wiseguy defense. But, man, the other side of that equation, when Hot Springs has had the ball, it has been almost incredible to watch this St. Joe defense do their best Wiseguys impression here tonight. And we'll see if Hot Springs can't start to lean on that physicality a bit to climb back into this ball game. But if they don't score on this next drive, they might genuinely have to kind of, in a way, abandon what brought them to this dance to this point. Yep. And they might have to just start spreading it out and trying to big play hunt, because they need to make up points in a hurry. If this score stands the way it is, and we have seen some big comebacks here in the Arena League, so no score is necessarily safe, especially just at halftime. But if this score stands going into next week, St. Joseph can actually clinch home field advantage next week with a win over Hot Springs if they win here tonight. So for Hot Springs, if you can just catch a split, you've still got the edge heading into the final week of the season. So this game is really pivotal for them. If the Goats can just blow their brakes off, suddenly if you're Hot Springs, you're starting to sweat a little bit. You're looking at, right now you're the 3 seed and sliding all the way down to not hunting a bye anymore. Now you're in trouble of falling out of a home field playoff game entirely.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the thing in this game, was going to be which side put the pressure on the other side first, and it was St. Joe without a doubt, and they've ride that wave of momentum here with that 20-point lead to get us started here in the third quarter. Again, winning the toss and deferring was Hot Springs, so we'll see the Wiseguys out on offense first. We'll see the St. Joe team out on defense first, and let's give some love to this defense without a doubt, holding Ambrose to just 80 yards through the air in that one touchdown. He finishes 9 of 19 through the air. He started the game red hot, 7 of 9, 64 yards, and then that touchdown, a 30-yard bomb to Terrell Brown. And then since then, he closed in the second quarter going 2 of 10 for 16 yards and no touchdowns. In the defense, 5 collected sacks for St. Joe and 4 total turnover on downs. That 5th one there at the end was kind of the end of half as they went for the Hail Mary, did Hot Springs, and it ricocheted off the video board here in-house in the Civic Arena. So this is a defense for St. Joe that has just been, again, I go back to week 3, really, up in Eau Claire. They buckled in late in that week 3 game on the road in Eau Claire in Wisconsin and created some turnovers late in that game. They were red hot against the Axemen here at home, and they have picked up where they left off here, especially coming out of the bye week as the third quarter is officially underway, and a potential big return here into Goats territory is where Hot Springs is going to start this first drive. Aaron, can't ask for much better starting field position than that, coming out of the gates down 20 here in the second half.
Love the cutback there from DeWandrick Crockett. Read his blocks beautifully, really kind of drew the St. Joseph Goats into him on that far sideline, and then a full field cutback. Very effective in a 7-on-7 type environment and able to get it up across midfield. That's exactly what Hot Springs needed to come out here. Now the thing is going to be finishing. They haven't done a great job of that to this point in the game. St. Joseph has been stingy on their own side of that midfield.
Now it's about for Hot Springs' offense. Last game out 2 weeks ago, 57 points put up. You were held at just 6 in 2 quarters in the first half here. Ambrose, great pocket. Now will throw to the end zone, looking for the big shot, diving out, but it goes incomplete. He had all the time in the world, and he was surveying. It was going again for Terrell Brown, but he led him just a little too far.
Yeah, that was a one-man route entirely. On the near side, Aaron Dilworth just ran that little 4-yard hitch, and I mean, he just got out of the way, and he started pointing downfield. He said, no, go to Brown, and Terrell Brown just ran a straight seam route type of a go, and then was just one-on-one down the field trying to make a play against Jalen Knox. That was purely designed to try to hit a big play to their best receiver. Everyone else's job was just kind of to get out of the way.
Troy Evans, the man in motion on the near side. Ambrose backpedaling, closing in as the defender, and he does find Evans over the middle of the field at the Goats 19. He goes, you mentioned Aaron Dilworth. He was the leading receiver for as far as total yards coming into this game tonight, and last game out, 4 receptions, 4 touchdowns, 134 yards against Ozarks, and so far tonight, 0. Hasn't been looked at very often. Like you mentioned, it's been Terrell Brown, Troy Evans getting that last reception. You've had Hobbs, the tight end, with a couple, Dorsey with 1 reception, but outside of that, if it hasn't been Terrell Brown, it has been slip pickings.
Another great job early on in this drive by this St. Joe defense.
Trying to break free, does lunge forward close to the 15. They'll call him about a yard shy at the 16.
I am so impressed by the way that they have been able to contain Ambrose. We talked about it during the halftime break. The leading rusher amongst all quarterbacks across the league. One of the more dynamic athletes at the position in this league. And, of course, a big physical presence that can lower the shoulder, bring the boom. And St. Joseph has been ready for the boom all day.
No doubt. Just behind Brandon Mackey is Ambrose for total rushing yards in the entire league. Mackey at 591 coming into week 7. Ambrose at 252, by far the best for quarterbacks. The Gravedigger looking for another one. Reynolds still in pursuit. Ambrose to the end zone. Incomplete. Mike Reynolds draped on the back of Ambrose like the cape on Superman. Pressure all the way, the relentless motor. And it looks like Hot Springs will just surrender this ball.
He is just a game wrecker. I mean, they got the ball across midfield to begin that drive, and they just couldn't get anything going. Another great defensive stand by St. Joseph. You can tell they want to come back to this Civic Arena and play another football game later on this summer.
Oh, boy, can't you?
It's a great crowd we have here in the Civic Arena, too. I love the presence that St. Joseph has really brought to the Arena League this year.
What a move. Boo Smith, plenty of room. To the Hot Springs near 15-yard line. Quick shiftiness for the Missouri Tiger.
They call him Boo, and he was looking scary on that play. Made a couple of shifty moves. St. Joe in business once again. Oh, my goodness.
Shot to the end zone, and there you go. Ryan Martinez without a reception in that first half, and right away is targeted. And now a flag's going to come in here for the head coach for Hot Springs as he got right into the face of the white hat, and we'll see how they sort this out. But meanwhile, Ryan Martinez scores. That means Goats fans can celebrate with a discount at Little Caesars. A little promotional thing they have going on here. Always love to see that. Let's see what this penalty is after the touchdown.
And it's going to be unsportsmanlike.
No doubt.
On the Hot Springs head coach, and another phenomenal play by a St. Joseph receiver down the field. We talked about how Trujillo has done such a good job spreading the ball out between his receivers, but the thing is, they've made it really easy to do that because no matter who he's thrown to, they've just made spectacular play after spectacular play. It's been unbelievable.
So off the unsportsmanlike on Coach Bones for Hot Springs. You got St. Joe will elect to go for it. Go for 2 from the 5-yard line. Trujillo rolling out to his left. Now going to peel back. Avoids the defender. Over the middle. Boo! Oh, you don't see him drop those too often.
Yeah, he is furious with himself. great play by Trujillo, hit the reigning league MVP in the chest. That might be the problem is, you know, he forgot the old Little League fundamentals. Catch them with your hands, boo. Catch it with your hands. Got in on the shoulder pads, and those shoulder pads, they're not soft and fleshy like the chest is. That thing will bounce that football right out of there.
Trujillo definitely, after peeling around, was able to initially avoid the pressure from Marthel Carter Jr. and was coming back into his rush lane in between the hashes, and he put a little extra mustard on that pass, no doubt about it. And Boo Smith, and just enough of it caught his shoulder pads, bounces out. One thing I know about Boo, though, and I'm sure you know it as well as every Goats fan has been watching along, knows that whenever he kind of makes a mistake like that, he usually, not too long after, he'll come back around at his next chance, and he makes a big play. So we'll wait and see what happens there. 32-6 now the score. St. Joe really starting to get a strangle grip on this ball game here. Not only leapfrog Hot Springs in the standings, and then they can go down to Arkansas next week with the win, pretty much sync up not only that home playoff game, but then be right into contention of maybe some home field advantage for the playoffs. Still a lot on the table for both of these teams, and as of right now, at this mark, 10:41 to play in the third quarter, it has been the Goats of St. Joe that have come out and have taken it. Hot Springs looking for an answer. On the return at his 5, able to break some tackles, wrapped up at the shoelaces and not going to get far. Jarius Burnett finishes it off on the return from Jordan Smith. Smith did have the lone interception early in this game, had a great return. And he's got the return there on the throw off. 1st and 10, just past the 5-yard line. Now you really feel like this has got to be some kind of answer. Some scores got to be put up here. You cannot end this drive without really having any points. Did we just have a referee doing the soldier boy on the field? I love it.
And here's the thing. The St. Joe Goats know that you're going to try to hit Brown. He's been the guy all day. Do the Wise Guys have a game plan to try to sneak someone else out there and beat St. Joseph with an unexpected way?
Who's it going to be? We'll see. Ambrose out of his hands quickly. Terrell Brown. Well, I mean,
gain of some minimal yardage there. But, I mean, they have been a little over-reliant on their big two playmakers right now. It's been Ambrose running, and it's been Brown when they go to the air. And St. Joseph is just ready for that right now. Might need to get into your bag of tricks and get creative.
And now it was kind of a little bit of confusion pre-snap. Now pressure comes for St. Joe. Throw over the middle, caught by Brown. And he fumbles the ball, and the whistles will come and say he was brought down at midfield. So Ryan Martinez will stop on the potential scoop and score return. And a big gainer here for Hot Springs.
Well, what do I know? I guess they're just going to keep feeding Brown regardless and just hope that even if St. Joe knows it's coming, well, they still have to stop it whether they know it's coming or not.
There's no better feeling in football when you run the same play and you give it to the same player and you know the defense knows who's going to get it and they still can't stop it. It's one of the best feelings. And really to the most success of the offense tonight, it has been just that, Ambrose to Brown. He's gone to Brown the first 2 plays. Now he'll pump it here and just dump it off to Hobbs, his safety valve. Avoids the sack, but it's going to be a big loss regardless. 5+ yards going to be backed up on this play. Bojo's to Weifel, and on the stop to hop Hobbs in his tracks, as well as John Gregory.
Yeah, and laid the boom with that second hit. And you talked about it, a major loss here for Hot Springs. Might have been better off just dropping that football, but I don't think he necessarily knew how well St. Joseph was covering behind him.
Always a little tougher in the heat of the moment to know I should just let this one fall, but definitely would have been better. You're looking at 2nd and 10 from midfield, and instead you back up about 8 yards on the loss. Now some early movement here, and the play will be blown dead.
They were trying to get that trio's vertical combo going. They had Brown running the shallow cross, and then a deep post up top by Dilworth. And then near side it was a vertical from Troy Evans. So now St. Joseph has gotten a look at that play call. That's what they were looking to get for the big play.
Offense number 7. 5-yard penalty.
But a false start means that St. Joseph's now seen it once, and I mean, heck, they kind of had it well covered anyway, and 3 men were in the backfield. So
4th penalty of the night for Hot Springs, only 1 thus far for St. Joe. So even further, backed up, getting further and further from the initial line of scrimmage that was once in midfield. Now Ambrose will take this snap at his own 5, and pressure coming. Malik Wilson gets another sack. He's going to start claiming real estate in that backfield with how often he's been in there tonight.
This has just been wild. I mean, absolutely remarkable to watch from this St. Joseph pass rush. Last year, it was mostly the defensive backs that were doing most of the damage for the St. Joe defense. This year, I mean, they've completely flipped the identity of that defense around. And yet, to an extent, the defense has taken a step back. But when they have had big plays and risen to the occasion, it's been mostly that front. That defensive line has just played spectacularly. And here on 3rd down and the entire length of the field just about, no Mike Reynolds on the field, going with a finesse trio up front.
Gonna move the coverage back. Ambrose from his own end zone, waiting for something, now fires down the field, 3-on-1 coverage,
oh
and
my
still
goodness.
coming down with it. Touchdown, Hot Springs, Aaron Dilworth. What a time for your first catch of the evening.
An ill-advised throw from start to finish, and one of the greatest catches we've seen, and we've seen a lot of great catches thus far on our broadcast this year. Aaron Dilworth, oh my goodness.
And again, those like 3rd and long, 4th and long type of scenarios for the St. Joe defense just continues to be their kryptonite.
Well, and you can't play it any better than that.
No, you can't. Good throw, good location, 3-on-1 coverage. It doesn't matter for Dilworth. He came down with it, high pointed it. Again, his first catch of the night, the leading receiver was held without a catch, very minimal targets in that first half, and he makes his presence known here in the 3rd. Much needed for Hot Springs, and now the conversion to go along with it. Back to Terrell Brown. Well, Aaron, at least on the big play, they didn't go to Terrell Brown. I think they finally found Dilworth. They dialed it up.
Yeah, well,
number 1 instead of number 11.
If Brown was trying to run the deep crosser, that was well picked up by St. Joseph. He decided to just give his leading receiver on the year a chance at a 50-50 ball, but the issue was when he released it, it certainly looked like there was going to be issues, as there were 3 St. Joseph goats splitting rent with Dilworth in a 3-square-yard radius up the field, and he just went right over the top of Ryan Martinez, lost him in the end zone, and then somehow, even while hitting the ground with a defender ripping the ball, he just managed to cling it to himself, I believe pinning it to his shoulder pads and keeping his hands on that ball. That is an elite number 1 receiver type play.
Odell.
To go keep your team alive.
And he had the big game last time out 2 weeks ago before the bye week. 4 receptions, 134 yards, 4 touchdowns against the Ozark Lunkers. The win for the Wiseguys that move them to 3-2 coming into this game tonight as they split the regular season series with Ozarks. And took a while for Dilworth to get involved in this game here tonight, but he makes, again, one of the web gem plays so far of the ball game. Done much better than getting that touchdown catch in 3-on-1 coverage, as this throw is going to go out of bounds into the Hot Springs bench. And
I'm not sure.
I can't tell if it was close enough, if somebody didn't reach over, if it was going to hit the top of the wall.
I think it might have been on a trajectory to hit the top of the wall, and that would have forced St. Joseph to go try to play it. So maybe an ill-advised decision by a staffer there for Hot Springs to reach over the wall and grab it, because that'll give St. Joseph the ball at midfield.
Like you mentioned, costly mistakes, so that set St. Joe up right at midfield. Again, it was a close play, but right now St. Joe trying to capitalize. Here's Ryan Martinez. Second catch of the game, all here in the second half. He had the big touchdown. And he gets a good gain here. 5+ yards, call it 6.
That just leaked out into the flat. Just able to get the 8th man off the field in time was Hot Springs.
Trujillo throws backwards. Martinez, man on the spot again, as I thought Trujillo might just keep that and run as he got past the running lane, but threw it backwards instead, and good for the first down. Hurry up offense again, in style this season for St. Joe. A throw to the end zone, wide open, Ryan Martinez. Let's complete the trifecta. But the penalty flag did come in, so let's see what this is.
That's going to be 8 on the field against Hot Springs. Once again, man late getting substituted off, and the Goats.
Illegal substitution defense. 8 men on the field. Penalties declined. Result of play. Touchdown.
I love that awareness. And actually, it wasn't Trujillo initially. It was Lorenzo Thompson pointing it out and hustling Trujillo. He said, snap it, snap it. And then no matter what happens, let's just get a penalty at least. And then they didn't just get the penalty, they got the touchdown, the wheel route to Martinez. And it is all smiles, all dancing, all fun here in St. Joseph, Missouri.
How about 4 catches, 43 yards, and 2 touchdowns? As that one will go to Demarius Washington. He makes the good catch with 2 touchdowns for Ryan Martinez. That is one heck of a second half, one heck of a third quarter. And the Goats continue to pile it on here.
Bit of a right on the line, if not over it, type celebration there. Demarius Washington following the defensive back up the field and doing the spanking gesture towards him.
I don't think that was in the Key and Peele sketch, so I don't know. I know hip thrust, how many you could get away with, but.
Nothing came of that one, and then he turned to the crowd. He hit the Randy Moss, faked the mooning towards his own hometown crowd, but they were all into it. So I guess because the crowd was into it, no flag. And regardless whether there had been a flag or not, it wouldn't take away a 39-13 lead that St. Joseph is now built up. They have come out motivated here tonight.
So after a fairly lackluster second quarter with the interception, the turnover on downs, they did get the touchdown their last drive. They now made it 3 straight scoring drives, perfect 2 for 2 here in the third, a point shy of 40. So they are starting to open up a can here on Wiseguys. Nice throw down the field, off the hands, down to the back of the end zone. Coverage team coming down for St. Joe as he just gets past the 5, avoided the initial hit from Booth Smith, who's been filling in the hole on the throw-off recovery team. As he gets up a little bit slow, does Booth Smith, hands on the hips, hope he's okay.
Yeah, I want to compliment the return effort there from Chapman, making sure that he got out of his end zone, avoided the safety, and then even managed to break a couple of tackles and get the yardage, but it all started because he couldn't handle the throw-off cleanly. So I guess in the end it just comes out in the wash.
Call it a wash, why not? And you're starting to feel the walls kind of close in here if you're Hot Springs. Time is getting short, approaching 4.5 to go here in the third quarter, 39-13. You need points, and you need them fast. Pressure again on Ambrose, and he just fires it into the stands. Unfortunately, not an eligible receiver up there, but a nice souvenir for the fan nonetheless, as he was pressured immediately on the snap.
That's not one that's even going to try to confuse any official as far as where I was intending to throw that one. I mean, that one ended up, if I'm counting correctly, I believe that's row 10. And they're elevated seats here in the Civic Arena.
Yes.
He just turned and chucked that thing.
Once again, might have been Jalen Jordan and was coming hot in his kitchen.
St. Joseph, one of the best blitzing defenses in the league, and they're bringing it again.
Deflected, and it goes incomplete. Malik Wilson again on the pressure that time.
They are incredible at the timing on these blitzes. There's just no answer Hot Springs seems to have.
You can tell it is overwhelming Hot Springs in this offense tonight. It is completely throwing them off their course. From their best offensive performance last game 2 weeks ago, 57 points put up against Ozarks, to so far, as we're now under 4 to go in the third quarter, just being held to 13. 6 total sacks tonight for the St. Joe defense, and a handful more of pressures. More time for Ambrose, down the field for Dilworth, and it's intercepted. Ryan Martinez, it was overthrown. And now Martinez looking for a return. Oh, potential, looked like a horse collar tackle maybe brought Martinez down. He flips the helmet off, and now that pendulum momentum comfortably on the side of St. Joseph.
Yeah, it might have been a bit of a sell job as he kind of turned his head with a hand on his shoulder. I appreciate that. Try to get what you can, but Now a flag comes in well afterwards as some Hot Springs players were having words with the officials. This might be the second penalty post-play just that comes from arguing a call or a no call.
We've seen it
goes against Hot Springs.
2 from the players, and we've had 1 on the coach call too. And the tempers have definitely been spilling over for Hot Springs tonight emotionally and not really keeping it very well together tonight. We mentioned in the first half, there was a brawl over at their bench, some players getting at each other. It took a while to break up, some players and coaches getting in the middle.
After the play, unsportsmanlike, offense number 1, 15 yards added to the end of the run, first down.
So they give that penalty to Dilworth, again, the intended receiver on that play as he was well overthrown. And Ryan Martinez, a nice over-the-shoulder catch for the INT, and Dilworth trying to voice his displeasure, maybe feeling like there was some kind of penalty or something that should have been called there, but officials very sternly disagree. And now the offense for St. Joe back out on the field as Trujillo will look to throw, and he does, and he finds his man Boo Smith, who gets taken right into the wall, but not before picking up a first down.
Yeah, Roderick Trapman tried to rip the ball out afterwards, but they'll say Boo Smith had it long enough. This might be the best game that Trujillo has played all season long.
Timeout, Wiseguys. That's their first charge timeout of the half.
I mean, that's the incredible thing. I mean, he's doing this against the #1 defense in the Arena League.
Yep. I mean, this is quite a showing. It's been no secret for the first about 3 weeks of the season, and for St. Joe, got off to a very, very slow start even through the first 4 weeks of the season. You lost the opener on a walk-off to Ozarks. The offense was sluggish in the first half of that game. You come here to the home opener, sluggish first half. They made the quarterback change. Angelo Trujillo came in and really gave the team a spark. You came up 1 point short against the defending Arena Mania champions here at home in Duluth. You got the win in the first official start, full start for Trujillo in week 3 in Eau Claire. You get the win, and then week 4 you suffered another 1 point loss after the offense went silent. And the better part of the majority of that second half that allowed the Woo to go from down 6 at halftime to 1 point. They were knocking on the door of almost being up 30 in that second half. And ever since that point, this offense, they have found their stride. The defense has really turned it up. This is looking like a potential #1 seed in St. Joe as another throw will come to the end zone, and it's batted down incomplete, looking for Washington, but it's knocked down by Zeno Hannibal. Great defensive coverage there for the Wiseguys.
Yeah, Washington was trying to plead his case for a bit of a defensive hold. Might want to be careful arguing with officials here tonight. They have shown that they are not about that here on this particular evening.
Very short leash. Trujillo and Wisely will just kind of wrap that one up as he avoids kind of the strip fumble from behind.
Forward progress stopped well before the ball came out. Well, would be a big-time stand if Hot Springs could turn St. Joe away without points here.
And a potential dagger if St. Joe's able to punch it in. What a spin move from Odom. Still able to carry his momentum forward inside the 5. They'll mark him right at the 5.
He's a shifty little spark plug, isn't he?
No doubt about it. Gotta have it here, Trujillo. End zone, and it's incomplete. Had it to Jamal Williams.
Would have walked right in for the touchdown. Second drop of the game for Williams. Does have a catch for a touchdown here tonight, but
Jamal Williams, the tight end, 6'5", 230 out of Central Methodist College, and he is a receiver that he's been active at certain points this season. I believe back in week 3, probably would have been the last time that he was active here. The Goats are in the 3rd game of what has been a 3-game homestand for him over the last month of action, and I don't recall Williams being active for any of the previous 2 home games, so it's been a little bit. He's had 3 targets tonight, 2 drops. He does have that 1 touchdown, but he would have had touchdown number 2 there if he was able to hold on to it. Goats still controlling lead, 39-13. Final seconds ticking away here. Could be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Ambrose from his end zone, pressured over the middle, and it goes incomplete, looking for Dilworth. Tight defense again from Ryan Martinez. This secondary for St. Joe has been zip block tight all evening long, and that is how the 3rd quarter comes to an end. Fours are up in St. Joe, 1 quarter away from back-to-back home wins for the Goats. Trying to get back to 500. They're currently 2-3. They have the advantage over the 3-2 Wiseguys. 39-13. We'll be back with you in the 4th quarter.
Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water. Culligan has been the most
Jump Psychological Assessment in Progress. Subject 003. Jonathan J. Kabongo. 28. Tactical Fitness Trainer. Toronto, Ontario. Confirmed.
What will follow is some simple word association. For example, I might say strength, and you might say
rest.
Speed.
Practice.
Defeat.
Unbannable.
Clever. Pressure.
Peace.
Greatness.
That's the spot.
Hey, yo! A pizza for happy campers?
First week of the playoffs, all 6 teams going to qualify. Top 2 teams have a bye week, so week 1 will be the bottom 4 or 3 through 6, however you want to look at it. We'll be playing in the playoffs, and it looks like St. Joe, high chances they're going to have a home playoff game that very first week, come that first weekend in August.
Yeah, obviously a win here goes a long way. But not to necessarily just assume that because you come out and look dominant this week that you're going to turn around and do this to the same Wiseguys team again next week. We've seen similar instances where that happened in this league and other leagues, and then that second game just totally flips on you. So it's going to be a lot of focus this coming week from St. Joseph to make sure that they can go handle their business in Arkansas, take care of Hot Springs again next week, and if you get that sweep, you've locked up a home playoff game. And then it's a matter of, well, what extra can you get as you then take on Eau Claire in that season finale up in Wisconsin.
Time is now for Hot Springs. Big deficit here to start in the 4th, and a strike right over the middle. Going out for it is Dilworth. Initially thought he wasn't touched, tried to get an extra few yards at the end. Clarence Taylor, we're not going to let him get far, but a nice play right out of the gate here for Hot Springs.
Well, he wasn't very involved in the first half, and the offense only had 6 points. Now they're trying to get him more involved here. They've gotten a couple of big plays to Dilworth.
All for about 20-plus yards on both catches. He had the big 44-yard touchdown reception here in the 3rd quarter. So far, the 2nd score. And another sack for St. Joe. Reynolds, Jordan, I mean, it's been this tandem. You throw Malik Wilson in there, too. And the grave digger, Mike Reynolds, making another plot.
He has just been unreal. An absolute game wrecker. He'd get my vote if they're opening up to media votes this year for Defensive Player of the Year. He has basically had games where he's just carried St. Joseph defensively on his back, and tonight's looking like one of them.
6th sack collected tonight for this St. Joe defense. Brown in motion down the field. Ambrose trying to find him, and again he'll find himself in the grasp of Mike Reynolds.
And it looked like Jalen Jordan was in there again as well. He's been phenomenal blitzing from his linebacker spot. They were, in fact, trying to get Terrell Brown on that deep crosser, it's just not opening up down the field at all. St. Joseph is playing it so well on the back end. None of this motion, none of these rub routes, none of the crossing patterns are confusing the defensive backs for St. Joseph. They are playing it like, I don't know, like they were coached by an ex-defensive back who knows what he's talking about or something. Yeah. They're just ready for everything.
Something about those defensive-minded players out of Wyoming. They just know how to play D. I don't know. They'll go to the ground to Evans as the passing game has not been working, and in quite a long ways to go. Pretty non-negotiable. You're going to be going for on every fourth down here regardless with this deficit and at this point in the game. And this crowd is going to start getting loud here again.
Big opportunity for St. Joseph to maybe buckle down, use this as a potential, almost like a practice, like a coaching moment, work on your fourth down and forever defensive plays.
That's been one of the biggest Achilles heels. It used to be penalties, used to be turnovers, and now it's the long fourth down conversions. Looking for one here, underthrown and intercepted right before he collides into the wall. Nicely done for Jalen Knox.
Obviously comes away with the football. It always feels nice to make that interception. That's one, though, that I think he's going to get back to his sideline, and Coach Dorsey Golston is going to have a couple of words with him about, hey, when it's fourth down and 26 and the ball is thrown 30 yards down the field, just swat it. Just smack that one to the ground. I mean, that's as good as a punt, which they don't even have in the Arena League.
Pretty much.
Yeah, maybe, but you know what? He's going to get an interception added to his stats. It's 39-13. If there was a moment where you could afford to maybe get a little bit selfish, that's probably the time.
I mean, you're up 26 points. Might as well. Let's have fun with it. And for Jalen Knox, that is now his third interception in 4 games. He's been a great addition to this defense. As for one of the few times tonight, Goats will be stopped in the backfield on offense, a loss of a pair.
Yeah, don't tell that Hot Springs front three that this game is out of reach. Playing hard on that play, and now stacking the left side of the Goats' offensive line.
Trujillo will immediately roll out and not going to be able to get away. He's wrapped up kind of German suplex backwards by Roderick Chapman, who got right on top of him on the rush. And now Trujillo is a little slow to get up, and he looks to be injured. Oscar Scott, the center, 83, is immediately calling to the training staff to come out of that bench over on the St. Joe side. And this is really the absolute last thing you want to see here. You're up big, fourth quarter, you're a little over 10 minutes to play in the ball game. This one, more than likely, pretty well put away. And now you're seeing your star quarterback, Angelo Trujillo, down on the turf, and he is slow to get up, being 10-2 right now. Again, on the play, Chapman came right in and immediately forced Trujillo to flush out to his left and was on him and kind of almost not quite exactly picked him up and spiked him necessarily, but like a German suplex, kind of brought him backwards, and he hit the ground a little rough, and he pops right up, puts the helmet on, and all indications is that he's going to stay in this game.
I'm not necessarily sure I'm entirely enthused with that decision. Maybe if you're Coach Golston, this might be a time where you need to walk up to your player and say, hey, I love the spirit. I love the Warriors' enthusiasm. Now get off my field right now.
Sometimes you have to protect the player from themselves.
That looks like that's what they're going to do.
And it looks like it'll be Ryan Martinez that will take over. Trujillo will trot back down the field, and it looks like his night, more than likely, probably going to be over. Got a great game for him. Good news, he's off. He's jogging on his own power. Doesn't really have a gimp or a hitch in his giddy-up, so all indications appear that he's going to be okay. But erring on the side of caution is Coach Golston and the rest of this coaching staff of let's let Ryan Martinez take the rest of the quarterback snaps the rest of the way. Might just keep it on the ground. Jarius Burnett, he gets it, takes it to the 9.
Looks like they might just surrender this thing.
Or
kill some clock. Well, no, all right. Love Demarius Washington, feeling it with the crowd. He's turned around. He's played 2 games with the Goats. They've both been at home, and it looks like, if all things stand, they're both going to be victories.
Maybe he has been the good luck charm. The first 2 home games before Washington suited up, 0 for 2, both 1-point losses, and now you add Demarius Washington to the roster. You're looking right now, staring down the barrel of 2 home wins, and 2 of them both of them, I should say, being in pretty convincing fashion in the style of blowouts. 39-13 remains the score here. St. Joe with the win 2 weeks ago before the bye, 64-26 against Eau Claire, and we were then calling their best all-round performance of the season, but coming out here tonight as well and playing an excellent game, particularly on defense. Now Trujillo back in. He's going to throw down the field, looking for Washington. He'll soar in.
I mean, what reason doesn't Washington have to be having all kinds of fun? That's going to be an offside against Hot Springs, the flag on the field. The middle rusher came through a bit early. They decided it wasn't encroachment and let the play go.
Offside, defense, that penalty declined, touchdown.
And we were just talking about Demarius Washington, the newcomer to the team, the Dallas, Texas product. And man, he is just loving life here as a St. Joseph Goat.
Oh, no doubt about it. $73 yards and 2 touchdowns this evening for Demarius Washington. Goat's going to go for 2. Trujillo on the rollout to the end zone. Dangerous pass, and it will go incomplete. And now again pushing and shoving, and it's Washington chatting it up. I can't tell if that was 22, Jamin Williams, or Jordan Smith, number 21. Didn't quite exactly catch a number, but regardless, extracurriculars after the play was done, another flag is thrown. And we'll see how they sort this one out. So Jamin Williams, number 22, that's going to be, appears to be the culprit for Hot Springs. Official about to address the crowd.
After the play, we have a foul on both teams. Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 4, St. Joe. Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 22, Wiseguys. Those penalties offset. That is their first unsportsmanlike conduct player for both players.
Heads up, quick with the eyes there, Aaron, catching 22. In fact, was Jamin Williams. I kind of figured they were going to be going that way, seeing how this game has gotten a little chippier towards the end of saying we're going to assess offsetting penalties. Both of you get a slap on the wrist. Don't do it again. Let's get this game going the rest of the way. Conclude the final 9 minutes, 55 seconds without any brawls or any extracurriculars of the sort going on after. So one tack to Washington, the other tack to Williams. One more for either one. They would be ejected from the remainder of this game. Goats continue to build on this lead now, 45-13. As Thompson, the southpaw, fires it in through the air and out of the end zone. On the return, Smith. Again, this has been textbook tonight by this throw-off recovery team for St. Joe. They've been getting down the field and not really allowing the big play or the big return to give this Hot Springs team any kind of momentum.
I gotta say, both sides have played some really spectacular special teams here today. Not necessarily a huge point of emphasis in arena football that often, but we got some coaching tape on display here tonight from both of these coverage units. We haven't seen a great deal in the way of missed tackles from either side.
Really, the only thing that we're missing this game is a defensive touchdown for St. Joe. That's really, I mean, that's about it. Outside of that, they have been spectacular nearly across the entire board as another flag is going to come in after that play. Where it currently stands as a loss, and the tackle for Jalen Jordan.
We may have officially reached that point in proceedings. We're in a 45-13 routing. Might be a bit
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 8, 15 yards, first down.
We're going to get Jordan with the face mask penalty.
Yeah, so never mind. It wasn't extracurriculars or any pushing and shoving. It was just your standard run-of-the-mill misplaced hand on a tackle.
Of course, unintentional, of course, for Jordan. That tends to happen. It's a lot easier to kind of make it happen when you're wrapping up for a tackle than some might think, to accidentally get up there in the face mask and you get a little grip, that hook of the finger, flag comes out every time. Free 15 for the Wiseguys. They go to Terrell Brown, able to break a tackle, and that ball is punched out. Little peanut punch for my fellow Chicago Bear fan on the call there, and And after all of that, it'll be recovered by Hot Springs.
So a gain of 0 yards, ultimately.
When it's all said and done, that's it.
I appreciated the use of fellow Bears fan. I don't know if you've converted recently.
I don't know why I
Dylan.
said fellow Bears fan,
that
but
one.
my resident Bears fan, I always look over to you.
It's on record now, Dylan. So there will be expectations placed upon you.
You know what? I will root for a Chiefs-Bears Super Bowl. I'm okay with that. I'll take that matchup. I'm good with it. Big fan of Charles Tillman, though. That's why. There you go.
He's a likable guy.
Yeah. Chaotic play for no yards. Now a shot down the field, and it goes out of play. Again, intended for Terrell Brown.
Little known fact nowadays, Charles Tillman working for the CIA.
Is that so?
Yes, he is a counterterrorism division, the ex-Chicago Bears cornerback. Peanut punching foreign and domestic threats these days.
That's awesome. 3rd down and 10. Ambrose pressured again. He can't run. He got out of the running lane and not past the line of scrimmage. Wrapped up by Jalen Jordan and might have tweaked his ankle as he was being brought down.
I would be very careful with my quarterbacks going forward if I were either of these teams. The competitive nature in you wants to just play to the end, and I understand and even respect that ideology. But yeah, there you see Ambrose, limping as he got over the wall and toward the sideline. So now on 4th down and 12, backup quarterback comes in. It looks like that's going to be Jordis Smith.
Yep. They put him in the backfield. Maybe it's going to be Troy Evans that'll take the snap. Evans, the traditional running back, and he's just going to try to run it up the middle. 4th down play, and I mean, at this point, it's just kind of you can't surrender the ball, but you don't really want to put your backup quarterback in any jeopardy with how fierce this pass rush has been for St. Joe, so it's another turnover on downs.
So the Goats now with an opportunity to extend this thing even further, and it is Trujillo coming back out at quarterback.
6 total turnover on down forced tonight. 7th, actually. 7th total turnover on down forced tonight by the St. Joe defense. Again, I'm kind of in the same boat with you. We're sitting here now, Sweet Caroline breaking out here inside the Civic Arena. 45-13, just under 6 minutes to go, and Trujillo still in the ball game and still taking shots, but this one is going to go too long and incomplete. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm still really surprised that they're keeping Trujillo in this game right now.
I found the open security guard with that last pass. But yeah, I don't really know what the benefits of it would be at this point with 5.5 minutes left to go. He's already had an injury scare. I mean, they don't have a tremendously deep-filled roster in the Arena League.
Nice pitch and catch there to Jamal Williams. Needed 10, got 11 on the yak.
Obviously just a 17-man active roster, so you don't have a great deal of backup options to put in for everybody, but I mean, someone that's already almost tweaked something, I maybe might make an exception and find something well, that's going to be illegal.
Did he get past the line of scrimmage while he was still in the running lane? And again, he takes a shot there towards the end.
Well, they're not calling anything, so I guess he maybe there was an optical illusion on my end. He must have just been inside those hash marks.
They were watching this as the drive. They're going away from you and I here in the Civic Arena. As they try to go on the ground again to Odom, and they're going to lose 2 or 3 on the play. We've seen it with Hot Springs, the first sign of any injury or slight tweak from their quarterback, Jordan Ambrose. They immediately took him out of the game. For St. Joe, it was Trujillo. He was out for a play. They put him right back in. He hit Washington for a big touchdown, and now he's here on this drive as Ryan Martinez can't quite bring in the one-handed touchdown.
Just trying to get the fade route going there. Well, at least they are trying to do that. It's a lot of quick hitters here for Trujillo on this drive, so at the very least trying to protect him in that way.
The game already pretty well put in hand, and just looking for that real final nail in the coffin and put the route officially well underway as Colston is going to take a timeout here. He tells some frustration, not quite able to get that play call all around to everybody on the field and get lined up quite in time. Again, 45-13 in the remaining schedule for St. Joe the rest of the way. Next week, they'll be taking on these Wiseguys, this time down in Arkansas, and they close it out on the road up in Eau Claire. Their third and final matchup of the year, minus a potential meetup in the playoffs with the Axemen. As for Hot Springs, they face St. Joe, and then they will close out the week at home as well at the Bank Ozark Arena, as they will host the Iowa Woo in Week 9. So a nice little two-game homestand for Hot Springs to close out the regular season. Again, kind of getting sucker punched here in this game. Obviously not going their way for the Wiseguys, but you have a chance to recover for a week. You get to have this rematch back at home, Aaron, get that home cooking, sleep in your own bed the night before, and if you can find a way to split next week with St. Joe, still plenty left on the table. As a throw to the end zone, and it's going to be caught by Ryan Martinez, and I was getting ready to say interception. It looked pretty 50-50 between him and Jamin Williams, but Ryan Martinez, he has come alive here in the second half.
That almost looked like an interception by Ryan Martinez, like he jumped the route. That looked like it was thrown directly to a Wiseguys defender, and Martinez simply made a play on the ball.
Unbelievable.
The Goats are not done just yet. And we got some scoreboard watching here. Ozark and Iowa in a 6-point contest. That's going to have a lot to do with who's going to get that 2 seed and a first-round bye, one might think, especially with Duluth currently leading by multiple possessions.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be one to keep an eye on there. Conversion no good. So 51-13. This game is just, well, not everything but final right now. Goats going to be on their way. Their second win here at home. They'll finish the regular season going 2 of 2, but they close it out strong in the final 2 weeks. Little back and forth with the cameraman there. That was interesting.
Now the real question going forward here, Dylan, is can we get it into such a way that the round 1 matchup is the Iowa Woo coming here to St. Joseph?
It could. I mean, it could very well happen, I think, and that would be...
What a playoff game for round 1 that would be.
We know the story from last year. Then the Kansas City Goats hosting the Iowa Woo. First round of the playoffs, they get upset, and the Woo have kind of carried that momentum. They lost by a few points in the Arena Mania Championship game, and they've carried that in with them. New head coach, new regime this year, and they were one of the early season darlings, as this one will bounce and go out of the back of the end zone for the touchback. And now, I mean, we know every time whenever St. Joe and Iowa, when they get together, off just the last 2 matchups, the one in the postseason, the one in the regular season, the lone regular season matchup this season, it's spectacular, and it literally comes down to the final play. So if that's a first round matchup, I mean, look out, man. It's got the caliber of a championship game, but happening within the first round of the playoffs, that would be insane. First and 10 at the 5 off the throw off, as Ambrose will be right back into the game. He throws, and it goes way over the head of Dilworth, and Martinez trying to jump in and get the interception. But, again, it's just a little high, and another souvenir for one of those fans in the nearby suites.
Martinez definitely feeling it right now. He was looking for back-to-back plays from scrimmage with a touchdown.
The clock continues to run, approaching 3 minutes to go in the ball game, as some fans starting to make their way out of here and the Civic Arena, feeling confident their hometown Goats have the win on lockdown, bolstering their chances of being back here in the first weekend of August for a home playoff matchup in the first round. Again to Dilworth, and again Ryan Martinez right there to bring him down.
And remember, if the Ozarks hold on against Iowa and St. Joseph wins this one, they're only half a game back of Ozarks for the 2 seed. So it might not be the first weekend in August. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. That's still on the table here for these St. Joe Goats after the dreadful start to get themselves back into a position.
I mean, you want to know how close, how competitive the league has been, is that either of these teams here, obviously with St. Joe being well ahead, but coming into tonight, before throw-off was underway, both teams had a pretty good chance of winning.
Timeout, Wiseguys.
It was a matter of either or team could be the 5th or 6th seed, or they could climb up to be the top seed. I mean, that's how kind of close the margins are so far in this season as we're closing down the final 2 weeks coming up after this. Week 7 we're currently in right now, as it looks like both of these teams are going to go to 3-3. St. Joe with the win and Wiseguys with the loss, as that will kind of flip them with that same record, but the head-to-head will probably put St. Joe at least in that 4th spot at least. You can continue to keep an eye on that matchup with the Lunkers and the Woo. And we just had a flag fly up here, so.
And the officials are pointing at the Hot Springs Wiseguys huddle and or sideline, but that's the direction they keep pointing. The only gentleman near the official that threw it was a water boy.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine it's on him, which means someone would have had to shout something from the Hot Springs side.
Or on the off chance if the waterman said something, but that definitely not going to be the case here, as they're motioning to Aaron Dilworth is to get him off.
Dead ball, unsportsmanlike, number 1 offense. That's
So it was to Dilworth, and that is enough. He has been ejected from the game, so his night is done a little early. 2 minutes, 11 seconds still to go. And a little salt in the wound there as the hey, goodbye chants break out here inside the arena.
And I brought my Chicago White Sox travel mug for just the occasion, the kind of public innovators of the chant at the home stadium. And I sure do bring in obscure Chicago sports facts for the fine people of both Hot Springs, Arkansas, and St. Joseph, Missouri.
Oh, how about that?
There's
that defensive touchdown. Yes, sir.
You wanted one, Dylan. You got one. They're going to review whether that was a forward pass, and they're going to say touchdown.
Malik Wilson on the recovery. It has been that kind of night, and now everyone's going to swag surf.
So we talked about St. Joseph. You know they're going to put up points. You're going to have to find a way to score more than you've scored at any point all year if you were Hot Springs. And instead, at the moment, it's looking like it's the other direction right now. We've got a season low unless they can find a way to put at least 2 more touchdowns on the board for the Hot Springs Wiseguys. 13 points, not just their own personal season low. That would be the season low points scored for any team this season.
Yeah. I mean, it's mind-boggling in arena football to be held under 20 points in a game. That is essentially like in an actual legit.
That's the 2-minute timeout. 2-minute timeout.
As they go to the 2-minute timeout. It's like an 11-11.
Unleash your inner Kong in Donkey Kong Bonanza. Rated everyone 10 and up. Only on Nintendo Switch 2.
Mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice cold. I'm only here to even the score. Whoa. My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice cold. We down right now, but did it before. Whoa. See from here we going up. Made the call, I shown up. Now the game is sewn up. Say my name is blown up. We up, we up, we up, we up, we up, we up.
points hung up tonight by St. Joe. That last 6 off the strip sack in the end zone for John Gregory. What a play in his Goats debut. And now they're going to go for the conversion here. It's in the hands of Boo. He can throw it, and it hits the back bleachers and comes down and goes incomplete. Boo trying to say it's live off the wall, but that's just a little bit too high to officially be off the live wall. So it stays right now just 57 points, 13 compared to all that's been put up for the Wiseguys. And you mentioned it, Aaron, before we went to that last break, that this track that Hot Springs is on right now, if it stays 13 points, that's going to be a season low total as far as points in the game, not just for them, but for the entire league. And again, what this Goats defense has been able to do tonight should not be overlooked. They have been phenomenal.
Yeah, and obviously this is the kind of momentum that even if you're not able to get that first round bye, and I did misspeak earlier, it is actually not possible for St. Joseph to get the 1 seed because Ozark and Duluth will play each other again. So one of them is getting 5 wins and a tiebreaker over St. Joseph. But the 2 seed is on the table, even with all the miracles that would need to take place for that. But even if you don't get that, I mean, if you're a team that's looking at 4 consecutive wins heading into the playoffs and you're playing like this, I mean, that is some momentum that can absolutely carry you to a 3-game run through a postseason. And you're holding hardware at the end of that year.
No doubt. I think everybody knew when St. Joe had started and they were at that 1-3 or 1-3 mark of, through the first 4 weeks. So we got the return looming up here. The best throw-off return of the night. Some broken tackles. How about this return here for Roderick Chapman? He takes it near midfield, and now flags will come in on the near side, so we'll put my thought on pause here for a little bit. Jarius Burnett losing his helmet. It was in the sweep. He daps up some of the Goats fans.
Yeah, they certainly were going to take his side on that one.
Yeah.
His helmet pops off. So he got into it with Carter on that far sideline, way away from the play.
Yeah. I mean, the return was going over to the far side of the field, and this is all happening near side. So they'll get this one sorted out, but the point that I was alluding to, though, is that everybody knew, even after the 1-3 start, that the St. Joe team, they were a team that was very well capable.
During the return, unnecessary roughness, return team number 12. Penalty will be added onto the end of the run.
8th penalty of the night for Hot Springs. But everybody knew that St. Joe, they were much better than a 1-3 team, and that if they were going to be a one that got into the playoffs just barely, and it was still going to be a team. If you just had to play them in the first round, you were going to kind of just be like, oh, really? That's our first round draw. Everyone knew that this was a great team, and they have really shapen up over the last 2-3 weeks or so. And I'll be curious to see, because that's been here at home. They got to go back on the road the last 2 weeks playing this Hot Springs team, and then the third matchup with Eau Claire. I'll be curious to see how they close out the regular season. But right now, I mean, they look as hot as a team as any here at this point in the season in the Arena League. Chapman on the design run up the middle. A herd of Goats there to wrap him up and drive him backwards. And again, some extra pushing and shoving. The officials trying to keep this game in order.
I would definitely, if I was anyone on the coaching staff for St. Joseph right now, in my guys' ears telling them, don't get pulled into it.
No doubt.
Nobody get disqualified going into next week when we have to play these guys again.
Yeah, that's it.
Hot Springs, they're going to be hotheads right now. They're down by 1 billion. They're in enemy territory, listening to this crowd. Don't get sucked in. Finish out the game, stay healthy, stay eligible for next week.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go earn ourselves a home playoff game.
We're just ticking down the final few plays. Again, it's Chapman on the run, and he picks up about 2 or 3. And this is going to be something to keep in mind, too, the way the tempers are flaring at the end of this game. They're probably going to pick right up at the start of next week's game. And I would imagine that officiating crew, they're probably going to go to the locker rooms before and be like, hey, fellas, just to let you know, basically kind of like umpires giving out warnings before the game in an MLB game as to we're not going to be throwing at hitters or anything. We're not going to be coming out in this game. We're not going to have the extracurricular pushing and shoving hands into the face, nothing like that. So I'll be curious to see how that works out, as it looks like they're just going to let the rest of this clock run out, and that's going to do it here. Again, the regular season capped off with a bang for St. Joe. Final score, Goats 57, Wiseguys 13. St. Joe finished it.
My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice cold. I'm only here to even the score. Whoa. My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice cold. We down right now, but did it before. Whoa. See from here we going up. Made the call, I shown up. Now the game is on up. Say my name is blown up. We up, 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 we up. See from here we go.
We don't take no L.
(7-13), a 44-point blowout. Riley Underwood alongside my partner, the PFF guru, Aaron Feely, right here. And it really, I mean, we had 26-13 or to 6 at halftime, excuse me, and it really didn't get any better after that. Pure domination by the Goats today.
Yeah, obviously it was a bit of a one-sided affair from the start of it to the end. The athletic advantage was definitely on display for St. Joseph throughout that entire ball game. And we're going to see how that leaks into next week, especially with the tempers flaring up like they did. I think it was kind of miraculous for each of these teams. They were able to get out of this thing without anyone getting disqualified, other than, of course, for a pair of personal fouls that were both unsportsmanlike conducts. But, you know, from a fighting aspect, when you get some of those high tensions in these blowouts, sometimes it gets a little bit, you know, a little bit chippy there toward the end. But both teams able to keep mostly professional towards the end of it. So we're going to have 2 full-strength units going into next week. Had some injury scares. Both of those ended up being kind of, oh, okay, he's all right, he's fine. And so I think this is going to be really interesting to see how each of these teams responds next week. For Hot Springs, it's a matter of, man, you got your pride hurt here tonight. Can you come back and give yourself that opportunity to stay in the hunt to get a home playoff game? And a lot of these teams, that's big, to get that home field advantage to that first round of the playoffs. St. Joseph, they were 1-3 to start the year. They didn't think there was any hope of that. They just were trying to get some momentum back, but now they're in the driver's seat going forward to try to make sure that they secure that home field advantage. They got a game against these Hot Springs Wiseguys next week, then Eau Claire to close out the year. You got an opportunity, if you get some help, first round bye is not off the table just yet either.
And coming into this game, Hot Springs was 3-2. St. Joseph was under 500. They were 2-3. So this win is big. Going into next week, they'll be playing on the road in the home-and-home series next week's at Hot Springs. Big game today from quarterback Zach Trujillo. 8 touchdowns, only 1 pick. He was big, the aerial assault. We've seen it all season, and we saw it today. Hot Springs just couldn't slow him down in the secondary.
No, and you can't really say that much bad about how the secondary played from a coverage perspective. They weren't blowing assignments. Sometimes you see some confusion in these 7-on-7 type leagues. DBs, they grow up their whole life, little league to high school. So, some of the low-level pros that they get into, it's 11-on-11. You get used to those schemes. So sometimes, you get confused, lost with those crossing patterns in these 7-on-7 leagues. You didn't see any of that from Hot Springs. They were right on their guys. And the guys for St. Joseph were just making insane plays. That'll be another thing to look for next week, is can you keep that rolling? That's something that's really difficult to replicate from an offensive standpoint. I think if I'm Hot Springs, that's something that as a defensive coach, I go to the film, I say, all right, look guys, this sucks. It's unfortunate that this happened, but the odds of it happening 2 weeks in a row, not great. So don't hang your heads, don't go into the week thinking, oh man, we're going to have to go through this again. The odds of it happening again are very low, so keep after them, keep playing your assignment, and we're going to see if our offense can come back next week and play a little better than putting up 13 points on the board. It was a season low across the league offensively. Previously, it was Hot Springs defense holding Eau Claire week 1 to just 24 points. I mean, they almost got half of that here tonight. It was St. Joseph's defense that was the story of this game.
And if you know anything about Wiseguys head coach Bones Bagante, is that he's not going to want to have this happen again. I'm sure he has some words for his team after this one. And really, when we're going back to Angelo Trujillo, and his aerial weapons, usually it's Boo Smith, the reigning MVP. Well, he only had 1 touchdown through the air today. It was also the other guys, the surrounding pieces that really stepped up. You had number 4, you had number 5, 6, 7. You had, all those guys, Demarius Washington, Ryan Martinez, Lorenzo Thompson, and Otis Odom, they all chipped in. Ryan Martinez, 3 receiving touchdowns. He had an interception on defense as well. That's a guy that can play both ways and a guy that makes an impact.
Yeah, Ryan Martinez just really likes the football. That's really all there is to it. I've been really impressed as well with Demarius Washington. You mentioned him, number 4. He's only been on the team for 2 weeks. They've both been home games, and they've won both of them. He's got all the reason in the world to think that this is the most fun league he's ever been a part of. He joins the league, he joins this team. They've got turned around from 1-3 to 3-3. Destiny in their own hands, all the momentum in the world. We saw him dancing between plays. He's out there having fun with the crowd, and then at the snap of the ball, he catches a full field length touchdown. He's having a ball. You mentioned Lorenzo Thompson. They've got, last year it was Boo Smith, early, often, squeeze in a couple in the middle. This year they are spread out on the playmakers that they can go to with the football. And the downside to their team has definitely been that their defense took a huge step back this year. Not tonight, though. Tonight, their defense got after it.
And coming into the game, Hot Springs, of course, the best scoring defense in the league didn't hold up tonight. The best scoring offense did hold up tonight in St. Joseph. And the way that the Wiseguys usually score is on the ground. Jordan Ambrose leads the league as a quarterback in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, sitting right behind MVP frontrunner maybe Brandon Mackey of the Lunkers, but he really couldn't get anything going on the ground today. Mike Reynolds, he had 3, maybe 4 sacks, one of those a strip sack that ended up in a touchdown at the end. And it all started, I would say, with the pass rush, because a lot of times he's just taking the QB draw and going forward. He didn't even have time to stop because the defenders were already on him.
No, yeah, I wouldn't put any of this on the quarterback play for the Hot Springs here tonight. A phenomenal athlete back there. And like you said, Ambrose just had no space to operate. The front 3, and not just the front 3 who were dominating in their own right. Every time St. Joseph brought a blitz, it felt like it was getting home. It was incredible the way that they were playing up front. I think, personally, this has been the best defensive performance I've seen from them all year. I don't know if they'll be able to replicate it going forward, but they've got a defensive-minded head coach that certainly would love to see him replicate this as often as possible. If they play like that heading into the playoffs, I don't care if it's the Ozarks, I don't care if it's Duluth. I don't know that there's a team that's going to be able to stop St. Joseph if their defense shows up like that on a week-to-week basis.
And along the sidelines on the Wiseguy bench side, it was a little bit of a scuffle between Darren Primes and Quay Hicks. Quay Hicks was in street clothes, but they went to the ground. The poles went flying. He told me after halftime, they're all good, so no bad blood between them anymore, but really tension's running high. That's what you get when you're used to winning these ball games and you go down 26-6 early at halftime.
Yeah, a lot of the specialty that Hot Springs has had this year, they've prided themselves on being a dirty, physical, gritty team. I heard this talked about, the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of fans around here know that team, and a year ago, the term was, we drag you down to our level and then beat you with experience. That's how Hot Springs normally likes to play. The problem is, they tried to drag St. Joseph down to their level here tonight, and St. Joseph just wasn't having any of it. They beat them at their own game. I don't know if that's going to be something that gets replicated going forward. I think next week is going to have a lot of intrigue based on how this game went down, because I don't know that we're going to see another blowout to this extent, but we are going to see a lot of passion from both of these squads as soon as that first throw-off happens in a week's time.
No doubt about that one. If you're Bones Bagante and the Wiseguys, you have one thing to say in that locker room to get them back on track for the next one against the Goats, who just blew you out by 44 points. What are you saying to that team on the road back home?
I'd say throw this one away. That's as much as you can do. I don't know that you're really going to get much from this film, to be honest with you. Like we said, I think they played schematically well. It wasn't a lot of mental errors. It wasn't a lot of mistakes. It was just a lot of, well, dang it. I mean, you just got beat on a number of plays. A lot of 50-50 balls down the field. A lot of just effort plays. The defense, I mean, that's really all they're going to need to really shore up to get this thing competitive. You have to find a way to slow down that pass rush, and it's going to be about communication next week. I understand these three-man protections in an arena league setting. It's difficult to get the pass-offs going from that front, from that offensive line. St. Joseph was just throwing stunt after stunt after stunt at him. They just didn't have an answer, and when the blitzes were coming, backs weren't staying in to block. That's going to be the adjustment that I think we're going to see coming in next week. They're going to look to shore up that pass protection, get plays going down the field, and I think they're going to succeed at it. And we're going to see, once the front is shored up, what kind of game do we have on our hands, and a lot of postseason implication in that game.
Next week, these two teams taking on the rematch, this time in Hot Springs. But from here in Missouri, from the St. Joseph Civic Arena, final score, 57-13. Goats take the victory over the Wiseguys by a whopping 44 points. The fans were loving it. Angelo Trujillo was loving it. 8 passing touchdowns for the QB wearing number 2 in blue. For Aaron Feely, for me, Riley Underwood, thank you for joining us. Have a blessed night.